Let's try that. Are you sure you want to start the stream? Okay. Welcome. This is me professionally starting the YouTube stream. We are cooking today. We're back in the kitchen. We are cooking two different things. We're testing some recipes. One is for pizza mushrooms, which are mushrooms that we're decorating like pizza so that the kids will like them. And the other one is for coconut drops. It's a retro recipe that I found in a cookbook that is almost 100 years old that I got from my mom. We are going to be, we've updated the recipe for like modern times. The original recipe didn't give temperatures for the oven, for example. This one will. So we're gonna make those today. That is the activities of the day. I already have the recipes written. I've tested both of them once already. So this is test number 2. Hopefully they turn out okay. I think they'll turn out okay. The coconut drops turned out meh, kind of okay the first time, but we'll talk about why that is when we get to them. And the pizza mushrooms have turned out really well and really bad. So I hope today is a little bit better. We'll get to it. Okay. Is my computer going to crash? No, maybe not. Let's turn on all the cameras. Ta-da! Okay, cool. Let's watch my GPU spike. Fun. One of the nice things about TwitchCon is getting to talk to people about like things. And I was talking to Pretty Good Gaming about GPU and CPU stuff. So I have some work to do there based on notes I took from them. In and out of LAX. I think I've only ever been to LAX once. I don't remember it. I went to San Diego last year for TwitchCon. It was only the this was only the 3rd time I've been to California, was this past weekend. Neil says, Emma in Orlando and every flight to here is full and has at least one crying baby. Don't they know they're going to Disneyland? Get excited. It's similar to Dog. Busted. Woma, okay. Like, oh. Okay, I feel like I'm getting a better sense of it now. I will try to use it. I will try to use it appropriately during stream today. At some point, it's going to be inconspicuous and it's going to blend seamlessly with the rest of the narrative.
Daddy, sorry. Daddy, sorry.
It will
Daddy,
not.
Sorry. Daddy, sorry. Daddy, sorry. Sorry, Daddy.
There we go. Belly flops, welcome in. Good to see you. You know what I'm gonna do today? I feel like I want to turn off the ads manager. I feel like we're gonna see where I am when we get to the first ad break that Twitch is gonna try to foist on us. Because I don't know that I want to deal with ads today. Not gonna lie, y'all. We'll see. Robbie, welcome in. Robbie, I hope you enjoyed your trip home. It was really good to see you. Drink more, cook less. Intentionally hung out with several times over the weekend with Dana. And it was really nice. One of the things that I enjoyed about this particular TwitchCon was getting to see people again. Those are like meeting people. And then there's like, hey, I've met you before and I already know that you're human. Troy, enjoy your lurk. Final products coming up. I think we're going to start with the coconut drops because they need to rest for a little bit. They are a dried sort of like meringue type thing. So you put them in the oven, they dry out a little bit. And then they are, when they're finished, they are like at room temperature. They're cooled down. So we're gonna start with those. These, let's see, require the oven to be at what temperature? 350, it says. They're not chocolate. They are, oh, look at that. See, this is why you look in the oven when you preheat it. Shit just fell off that tray. This is why you look in the oven when you preheat it. Because there's a sheet pan in there. I don't know what was on the sheet pan, but there it is. Obi, if you want to come say hi, you can come say hi. I have a cat who's been sitting on a chair, staring at me, sleepy, blinking, since before stream started. He's sitting here. He's been proximal. Obi, yes, no, okay, no. I don't want to disturb him. He looks so nice. Elsie came and said hi to me yesterday when I came home. Obi and Ash did not. I found out later they were locked in the basement. But Ash was hanging out with me all morning, and now Obi's very like proximal. So I feel like they're sort of in their own little way coming back and like filtering back into like, oh, this human is here again. To resell the foster kittens. Yes, Liz, and there's more. There are 6 foster kittens in this house right now. There's a box of bottle feeding kittens. And then there is 2 that are on solid food and are like a little older. Oh, and then there's the 3 that live here. This is 9 cats in the house. Is this life now? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think it is. What happened is the basement of this house is Gwen's. It's got lights. It's got her gaming setup. It's got a couch. It's like a gaming cave. It's literally a gaming cave. Like, imagine a gaming cave. That's what it is. Well, forever, there was no way to like section that off, right? It was just like you walked into the basement and there's no whatever. Now there is a door on the basement and like a window. So when you walk down, it's like a half wall. The half wall now has a window on the top of it, and then there's a door where you would walk your body through. So now Gwen can have all the cats she wants in the basement, and they can just live down there, which is great. In addition to a couch and a table, there's also a cat corral with cats in it. A room at a pet adoption center. Yeah, apparently, did you know that kittens have a season? There's a season for cats. They apparently stop mating in the winter because they like know that it's cold. Budgie Darling, welcome in. Did you hear the little horn? That means that your check-in was a multiple of 20, and that means that it went to Discord, and I know it went to Discord because my phone buzzed. There it is. We love it. This room is dedicated to Gwen Edith for fostering 5 million total kittens. Yeah. I understand. As I read that, Tundra, I was like, I was like, wait, not me, but I realized you were replacing last name. Yes, correct. I am not assisting. I'm not like, I'm present. I'm supporting the household. Gwen is supporting the cats. We have not been in. I don't think we've ever been downstairs. The room that I've streamed from for just chatting stuff is a different room. That is not a gaming cave. That is a. Just general bonus room. Wasn't gonna dox Gwen. Fair. She could do that all on her own. Okay. We're gonna make. I'm leaving these on, by the way. I'm not like using them right now. I was leaving them on so that we had baseline for my GPU. I turned a setting off right before stream today, and my GPU is consistently 10% less than it usually is. One checkbox. Incredible. Okay, coconut drops. Let's look at this recipe first. We're going to read it out loud. So, actually, first, I bet they're still in here. They are. What the hell is this? Why are there? Oh, there are sneaky brownies from Domino's in here. I know what the kids got up to when I was not home. So these are the coconut drops that I made on Tuesday, last Tuesday. So these are now 1 week old. I'm wondering if these are any good. I believe so. They smell fine. So these are the test version. Krem, welcome in. These look not so great, honestly. Nah, they're not fuzzy, they're not funky. They seem okay. What I don't like about these is that I used flakes, coconut like chunks, and they're too chewy. The pieces of coconut are too large. Meringue with grated coconut. That is exactly what this is. So they're very large. Now, they're still chewy, but the flakes are too large. And I cooked them at weird temperatures. So, some of these I cook longer. And they are, I don't know if the color variance is going to show in here. But like this one is a little darker. This one is darker. This one is a little lighter. And I was just trying to figure out the temperature, and I realized it wasn't necessarily... It was about the time, more so than the temperature. They needed to puff. So I think I figured it out. I think I figured out the right temp and the right time. And I'm going to use... These are also unsweetened. They're unsweetened coconut flakes. So what I was using... Okay, hold on. Let me let me wipe this counter off. Now has dried, week-old coconut macaroon all over it. So what I was using in those was this sliced coconut. Which is kind of like big and flaky. So it has these like big chunks in it. And what you get is a bunch of these in your mouth, and they're big, they're tough to chew, or they're just more difficult to chew. So we're gonna use these flakes, which should be a little different, and these actually should be a little bit moister. So these are much smaller and a bit more flaky. And so what I'm imagining is that these will just mix in and integrate with the macaron, the egg white and powdered sugar a little bit more than these sliced coconut. So you can see there's like, you can kind of see the difference if I put them side by side. So we're using this for the final recipe, which is a little flakier, rather than these, which are big and chunky. Now both of them are good, like taste-wise. I mean, the sweetened coconut is like clearly sweetened. I think my overall preference would probably be for unsweetened coconut flakes, but I couldn't find those, so we're not going to use them. And I can't test. I'm not going to write a recipe without having tested it. So I think if these work as I think they're going to work, we're just going to go with the sweetened version, because sweetened is pretty good. And I mean, I want them to be sweetened anyway. They have a lot of powdered sugar in them, so that's the sort of basic, that's the sweetener to begin with. Ava, welcome in. Okay. Oven is heating. Yes. Let's read this recipe that I've got, because no surprises. We talked about, it was funny, at TwitchCon, we did a panel. I got to talk about my favorite thing, like my absolute favorite thing to do in the kitchen, which is plan. And my basic advice boiled down to like read the recipe and get all your shit out ahead of time. Any questions? But I still don't do that sometimes. I still like will start cooking and I'll get to like step 4 of a recipe and be like, oh, I didn't realize I needed to like boil water for this. Usually it's because the recipe didn't tell me to boil the water in a timely manner. It was like, into a pot of boiling water, put blah, blah, blah. And you're like, what? When did you say that was needed? When should you have said it? At the beginning. Anyway, this is why I also like writing recipes, because you can be like, All right. Just start at the top. You'll be fine. Okay, this recipe calls for 4 egg whites, 1/2 pound of powdered sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of lemon extract, and 1/2 pound of unsweetened grated or shredded coconut. Now I'm calling for unsweetened here. I'm using sweetened. We're gonna make it work. Step 1, preheat the oven to 350 and line 2 sheet pans with parchment paper. Great. Combine ingredients. In a large bowl, beat the egg whites with a whisk until they hold stiff peaks, 4 to 5 minutes. Whisk in the powdered sugar until no lumps remain, then whisk in the lemon extract. With a spatula, fold in the coconut until fully coated. That one's an easy one. Measure and bake. Onto each sheet pan, place 15 tablespoon sized lumps of the mixture. Bake for 15 to 17 minutes until the exposed coconut tips are brown and the surface of the drops are beginning to brown and crack. Leave in the sheet pan until fully coated. Store leftover drops for up to 1 week. Finite singularity. What are you doing? Welcome in. It's good to have you. Hello. Finite Singularity, fellow TwitchCon attendee. I hope you made it home okay. We are just getting started making a recipe today. Friends who just joined us, welcome. It's good to have you. I'm going to say hi to all of y'all. And then introduce what I'm doing. It's nice to have you. My name's Lou. I'm a home cook, a recipe developer, and a parent in Philadelphia. My pronouns are he, they, and I'm so glad that you are here. Welcome. Our stream is all about cooking and conversations, mostly vegetable-forward family meals, recipe development, which is what we're doing today, but also baking and meal prep, and on occasion, we get out in the world and do some IRL adventures. It's lovely to bring your community here, and we appreciate you. Our community is generally enthusiastic about the culinary world, very kind of weird, a little bit spicy, and generally happy to create a safe space, whether you want to lurk or chat. It's up to you. Follows are always silent. Feel free to hit the follow button. Nothing will happen, and you can happen to chat when you're ready, or just stay a lurker like I am. Let me say hi to y'all and welcome in. First, for anyone who is hanging out here, you all have heard me talk about StreamerBot many times. Y'all have heard me talk about my struggles with developing the technical side of stream. Finite Singularity is one of the folks that makes both of those things infinitely easier. YouTube videos, tutorials, lots of help with developer documentation, like deep developer documentation, for anyone here who is a streamer and wants to get started using the new Atom suite. Finite Singularity had a good hand in that. So I would encourage y'all to please go follow. And for those of you who are coming from Finite Stream, what do y'all like about your streamer? Why were you hanging out there? What was exciting today? Dimitri, welcome in. Andy, welcome in. Theodros, welcome in. Welcome. OSU Phoenix, welcome in. OSU Phoenix, another person whose name I've absolutely come across on YouTube. Not to steal the thunder, Finite, but you always attract the best. So it's about to, it's kind of like that. Darth Cleric, welcome in. Can we get a slice? You can absolutely get a slice. We're going to be making some pizza mushrooms coming up, and we're doing. We were just about to get started. I was reading the recipe for these coconut drops, these like retro coconut drops. So that is what we're making first, because those need to cool down a little bit. It was awesome seeing you too. Congrats on all of your involvement too. I enjoyed some of your panels. I enjoyed seeing you just in general, and I hope you all had a good, safe trip back home. We're here to demand pizza. We have. I'm gonna let you know a little secret. What we're making today is pizza mushrooms. So what I like to do is take a thing that kids don't necessarily like, say like mushrooms or more recently zucchini, attach the word pizza to it, and then make it a version of that. So that's what we're doing today. Don't tell. Steve, you just made dough for bread. What kind of dough? Weird and spicy is what makes the world go round, right? Yeah, I don't always make spicy food, but like sometimes chat likes to dance around the body, and we're okay with that. Dan, welcome in. Dan Carlion. It's a great trip. I'm glad it was a great trip. Watching fun is like being behind the curtain with the Wizard of Oz. That is true. That is true. Though, like, every time I watch or like lurk in one of Mark's streams, Mark is finite. Sorry, I don't know. I know that you say your name online, so I'm not. I hope that's okay. Anyway, I'll see myself out. All of like, it's like if I tried to do in my version of OBS what you do in your version of OBS, my computer would be like, get out. No. So I have to pick and choose. Feel free to call me Mark. I appreciate that. Well, what we're making today, I'll show you. Hold on, let me bury the lead. What we're making today is these. These are what they look like with different coconut after a week. These are a week old. We're not making them exactly like this, but this is what we're starting out with. And then the pizza mushrooms we're gonna make with cremini mushrooms. Cremini mushrooms. You can make them with shiitake mushrooms, but like, have y'all ever been to like a regular like Costco grocery store? They don't have shiitake mushrooms that aren't already sliced. So as much as I love them with shiitakes, we can't do that because this is meant to be a very simple recipe. And if you can't find the actual ingredient to use in the recipe, it's not that simple. So we have preheated our oven. We're gonna line 2 sheet pans with parchment paper. Now, I determined, this was also something that I tested last week. Determined that the parchment paper was easier to use in this recipe because they didn't stick to it as much. It was more to the point. It was easier to get the coconut drops off of the parchment paper than it was to get them off of the silicone pastry mat, and certainly easier than getting them off of a pan. I think I could I could oil the sheet pan if I really wanted to, but I don't, because I don't want them to be greasy. I want them to be dry on the bottom, and that's like not, when you oil the pan, they absorb the grease, and I don't want them to absorb the oil, so we're not going to do that. Anyway, remember that thing I said about the ads earlier? I'm definitely going to do that. I usually run ads every hour, and I am going to be super honest with y'all. I'm not feeling it today. I don't want to stop what I'm doing. I just want to do like the stream and not think about it. So we're turning the ad manager off. If you're here, don't close the window, because then you won't get ads again. Anyway, if you're not here, I guess I'm not talking to you yet. Okay, Growly Bear says, is parchment paper baking paper greaseproof paper? Yes. So this is what we're talking about. This is the Costco brand culinary parchment. I like using the roll, just like the big roll. I don't always love having the sheets. They sell them just like foil now. Everything comes in like, tear off sheets or whatever. I don't love those. This is just the regular parchment paper. So tear off piece. Little trick, fun little trick for your parchment papering in life here. So you see how it curls up like this, and doesn't always like sit nicely on that was wow. Oh, behave. Look at how this is just like cooperating right for the camera. Do you ever get your parchment does your parchment ever curl up on you? It's really annoying. Let me show you this one cool trick. Sorry, I'm not really like that. Anyway, this is a little trick with parchment paper. Crumble it up. You open it back up. Then you sit it on your tray. And then it doesn't curl. And you know what difference it makes to your food? None. You can even put it the other way. To prove that it doesn't curl, we will fit it the other direction. There we go. Little tip for you. Parchment paper is a paid after loan. Yes. I got that tip from another streamer years ago, and I remember watching the first time that they did that, and I was like, what are you doing? And then it happened, and it laid flat, and I was like, no way. And I've been doing it since that very day. Since that very day. So, step number 1. Crumbling is part of the trick, Crowley Bear. Yes. Did I fake you out? Cool. That's fun. That's fun. But yeah, I mean, you know what I saw the other day? I saw a box, right? That was like parchment paper that lays flat. And I was like, what? And I like looked, so I picked it up off the shelf and I looked at like, why it says that it does that. And there's this secondary like plastic piece that basically like recurves it the other way. It like runs it through an S, like an S-shaped piece of plastic as you're pulling it out of the box to like take this curve out of it. And I was like, that is so unnecessary. Sorry. Also, welcome y'all. I'm a little bit judgy sometimes, and that's okay. It was one of those things where I was like, is that really necessary? Like, no, it's not. We're gonna use these sheet pans. We're gonna use that parchment later, so I'm gonna put it away because if it's on the counter, it's gonna bother me. All right. Into a deeper pan. Neil, yeah, exactly. It's definitely one of those little like. You just want you're forcing the parchment paper to like give up all of its preconceived notions of itself and work with what you want it to be. In a large bowl, beat the egg whites until they hold stiff peaks. Whisk in the powdered sugar. Whisk in the lemon extract. Okay, so we're gonna measure out the powdered sugar and the coconut first before we get started on the next pieces, because I just want to be able to add all of this in. Add all of this in at once. So we're gonna put the egg whites into this bowl. Angry Rook, welcome in. Good to see you. Okay, this is, so I have a scale. I measured You'll be shocked to learn that I also have measured all of these things. We're just going to do our powdered sugar. 228 grams of powdered sugar. Let me get the I have a bag of powdered sugar in my cabinet that is already open, so we're going to use that first. Do I have a bag of powdered sugar in my cabinet that is open? I do have a bag of powdered sugar in my cabinet that is open. Am I using lemon? I'm using lemon extract for this. Okay, so here's the lemon extract too. Look, we're being efficient. 228 grams of powdered sugar. That's 1 3/4 cups. Oh, I guess I didn't. I bought some more powdered sugar this morning because I wasn't sure if I was going to use all of this, but I'm not. Okay. 228 grams. Shocked, I know. I was, so we did over the weekend on Saturday evening, there was a panel about how to incorporate cooking into your stream at TwitchCon, and I was I felt like I did okay not like jumping down the little rabbit hole of like my own sort of weird proclivities to like, hey, you should measure everything. Like, you should just use metric, use weight instead. I'm like, if anyone from this panel ever comes into chat, like, they'll get it right away. But like, I don't need to tell these people just how weird I am about it. Not weird. I like to be precise. You gotta burp the bag, Growly Bear. That's right. Did y'all who are like, what do you mean burp the bag? What are you talking about? Just wait, I'll show you in a second. So I also need grated or shredded coconut. That's 228 grams. Again, it's the same amount of coconut as it is powdered sugar, which is kind of fun. Okay, let me wash my hands real quick as I'm like, because I want to break up some of these big coconut chunks in here. Some things are more forgiving than others. This is true. And this recipe is all sort of like relative too, because like it's relative to the size of your eggs also. Like you're using egg whites, right? Okay, so if your egg whites are not the same as they were the last time, like it's gonna be a little different, you know? Angry Rook, you're taking a break from painting the walls in the basement. That does sound like a fun project though. Are you what's the basement turning into? Or like are you just painting, or are you like changing the purpose of the room to be something else? Lemon, you booked HVAC maintenance. Oof. Yes. Good luck being home during the 17-hour window that they're going to arrive. Like, yeah, we'll be there sometime between Tuesday and Thursday. You gonna be home? And you're like, yes. Okay, now this, a 2-hour window, damn, what'd you do to be such a good customer? It's impressive. Last time they're there, you just like slipped them $100 bill and you're like, next time. And they're like, yes, ma'am. Okay, I want to measure this though, because when I made this with coconut shreds, or not shreds, the chunks. When I made it with the wide sliced coconut, that being this, it was 5 cups. This is not 5 cups worth of material. So if you put 5 cups of this, that's going to be a lot of coconut. Too much coconut. Too much coconut, in fact. So let's measure this before we start here. So I'm just going to measure. See, I'm making this recipe by weight, right? So I want you to put a weight amount in there. I don't want you to put a cup amount, but like you kind of have to have that. So that's 1 cup. Hold on, my brain is doing one thing. My brain is doing one thing at the moment, which is counting and measuring. 1. That's just about 2 cups. 2 cups. 1, 2, 2, and is that a quarter? Is that a quarter cup? It's not quite a quarter cup. We're just gonna go with 2 cups. 2 generous cups. There you go. I love using the word. They'll never allow this, but unsweetened. Wait, I want sweetened. What is this? Grated or shredded? What does this say on the bag? It says flakes or shredded coconut flakes. So 2 cups. Okay. And that is 228 grams, 8.1 ounces, 8.05 ounces. All right. Coconut has been measured. Amazing. Kanar, welcome in. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Angry Rook says it was a finished basement, but I ripped out the carpet. Yeah, get rid of that carpet. Nobody likes carpet. No offense. No offense, carpet. But get out of here. Put a laminate floor, painted everything, installed a new baseboard, put a new ceiling tiles, changed all the hinges and the doorknobs, changed all the electrical outlets. Okay, so you're like hitting refresh on that whole situation. That's kind of impressive. That's some impressive home maintenance that you're doing there. Oh, Lemon says it. Lemon already gave them a lot of money. Got it. So they're like, oh, okay. They know. Also, they know that you'll pay them, which is huge in contracting. Call before you arrive. We're outside your door. Exactly. Burping the bag. By the way, this is what we were talking about when it said burping the bag. We're like getting the air out of it. Getting the air out of it, so it's like a nice little package. Texas, welcome in. Working and lurking. Typical Tuesday. We love that. I love a work and lurk. I can't scale with my mom's recipes because she never had one. Neil said, yeah, I mean, like a lot of the recipes that I'm looking at in this cookbook that I'm using now, or that I'm pulling some of these from, say things like bake in a slow oven until done. What does that mean? Like, and you know, like obviously with having, you know, what does a slow oven mean? Like lower temperature. Like there's just some phrasing and turns of phrase that are like not like that. You're just like, what do you mean? What do you mean fast oven? What do you mean quick oven? I don't get it. Oh God. I'm assuming you're home by now. I hope so. It was really lovely to see you this past weekend again. It was really lovely to see you because I know I said that in person, but it was really lovely to see you again because we've met previously to this past weekend. Words. Welcome in. I'm very happy that we got to chat and hang out this past weekend. Way too many trips to Lowe's, Angry Rook says. Right. Yes. I am not a... I'm not particularly skilled in the art of home maintenance, so I appreciate those that do. Those that do get appreciation from me, who falls in the those that don't camp. Have you watched Lemon streams? She's been doing some good home maintenance as well. Neil says a slow oven is 300 to 325, which is a fact that the internet will tell you, but it's not intuitive. It's only intuitive if you're like from that, you know, if you like grew up hearing that. I also love the note on one of the recipes that said one of the recipes I was looking at said it was basically talking about cook. I realized a little bit into it that they were talking about cooking over a fire, because it was like, you know, make sure your flame isn't touching the bottom of the pot, and I was like, flame? I use those terms. So, well, your oven is also one where like those terms could be applicable, right? Like you could actually, like I feel that your oven has some level of variance in it, which would make that like that window, like a 50-degree window. I do like the idea of just like, hey, this is a window that like, I love the term meaning this generous space, because not all ovens have the same like calibration, right? Like I know that mine is not 350. If I set it to 350, I know it's not 350. I'm not sure if it's like completely above or complete like a little bit below or whatever. The British recipes with gas marks. Okay. Text, hello, welcome in. Text was a human who I actually met at TwitchCon as well. Good to see you. Fill all the holes in my Hellraiser house. And I love that you're doing it like live. That is terrifying to me. A good cold. Yeah. I feel like I got I'm just exhausted. And I feel like part of it is I talked a lot. Now that I've been talking for a little while today, I'm feeling a little better, which is I'm sort of like, oh, maybe that was it. Neil, who's the YouTuber that does an old cookbook show? Because the rest of you went to TwitchCon, right? And I hope that people went to the folks that were live. I was thinking about it. I'm not like, I was thinking about streaming while I was there. I even brought some microphones with me. I didn't bring my whole IRL setup, but I didn't have the energy to. I'm washing my hands so that I can crack these eggs. I have to use lids and props to keep it below 350. It's kind of wild. Kanara, I was camping. I was doing a cabin camping trip a couple months ago, last winter, and the cabin that I was staying in had an oven like that. It was like, I don't know, I'm sure it wasn't the same model, but it was like very similar to yours. And they had a full page of directions on like how to use it. And the top direction was basically like, if you've never used this type of oven before, please don't. And then it was like, if you have experience with these types of ovens, here are the specifics for our oven. Like, please confirm with the host before using the oven. And I was like, okay. I did get a picture of it. I should send it to you to confirm. I did. I was like, I took pictures of it because I was like, this thing is very, very familiar. What better place to be bad at something than in front of a bunch of people? Yeah, well, that's the fun part about doing it live. Oh, Tex, you're not feeling good? Great. Yeah, I had all my shots beforehand, so I'm feeling like pretty okay, but I'm still like, I feel like I'm very exhausted. It's been, it was a long couple days. Thought was better, but the evening was full board. Oh no. I hope you're feeling good. I hope you're feeling okay. I think it's just like it's always like every time you go to a conference like that, I feel like you just end up feeling a little under the weather afterward. I always do because I'm just tired too. I'm just tired. Please don't burn down the cabin using our oven. Oh, I can do that without using the oven. Sheesh. Having been in a cabin fire before, I can attest they're super easy to. They burn super easy. That's for sure. Robbie, I hope. Tell Dana we said hello as well. Yeah, it does happen all the time, fellas. Despite like despite masks, despite sort of all of the precautions, it is when you combine like exhaustion and that many people in the same place, sometimes it's hard to tell what's what. So we're doing 4 egg whites here. Glenn and friends cooking. Okay. I'd love to remember that. One of the things that I took away that I want to do is make a command that just says like stream dump, command dump, and then whatever you type on that line just puts it into Discord automatically. That and the price. Yeah, the price is definitely a barrier. I can understand that, but I feel like I feel like every time I go anywhere like that, it just makes me want to wear a mask even more. Because it's sort of like no matter what you do, you pick something up. Fellas, how was the last camping trip? It was great, actually. It ended up getting cut short because of some weather, and so we didn't go for as long as I wanted to, which was disappointing. But we ended up eating all the food that I made ahead of time, which was great, and so that was nice. The trip itself turned out really well. The location was good. The location was good. All of my sort of things that I was worried about didn't really happen. The only hitch was this nor'easter that came through in our area a couple weeks, like right that weekend, which ended up being not as impactful as we all thought it would be. So that was kind of frustrating to be like, oh, we didn't actually probably need to leave early. But I was frustrated. I was a little frustrated with myself because I didn't bring my big tarp for the rain. Yeah, Neil, that exactly. The plane. Yeah, well, I wore a mask like in the airport the whole time for sure. That in the airport, on the plane. Someone on my flight there was like dying, and to the point where people were like looking at them and like being like, "Are you going to be okay?" And I was like, "This is a great way to start." And I was wearing a mask, so I was happy about that. Okay, step 1: preheat the oven. Line 2 sheet pans. Done. Step 2: in a large bowl, beat the egg whites with a whisk until they hold stiff peaks 4 to 5 minutes. Now, I could call for doing this in an electric mixer, which usually I feel like I probably would do that, but this is a retro recipe, y'all. We're doing it by hand. So we're gonna Yeah, the confined space, fellas. That's what does it for me. Is like if the person next to you starts coughing, it's too late for you to put your mask on at that point. Like you got to start with it on. That's the thing. Kanar, enjoy your look. Enjoy your grocery list. I hope it's a good one this week. Anything fun planned? We're doing these today. We're gonna make some sweets tomorrow. And then Thursday, we're going to be eating a chocolate onion. So, I have my grocery list already. I did my shopping this morning. Trusting my memory, I'll forget. This is true. I every time I go to the store and I don't make a list, it's like, gone. All right, let's mix this. We're going to do this left-handed. Carly! 7 minutes ago. Carly Mags resubscribed. Thank you for your resubscription, Carly. I appreciate it. I didn't say anything when it happened because I was probably talking about something else. I'm sure I was talking about something else. Neil, a chocolate onion. Yes. So for September this year, we had some reward tiers that were based on total number of subs. One of them was to eat a chocolate onion. There is a store, Muller's Chocolate. There's a Muller's Chocolate in Reading Terminal Market where I live. So I live in Philadelphia, East Coast, United States. We have one of the oldest public markets in the country, that being Reading Terminal. And in Reading Terminal are lots of different vendors. There's prepared meals, there's produce, there's fish, there's meat, there's candy, and there's chocolate. One of those vendors makes this thing called the chocolate onion, which is, shockingly enough, exactly what it sounds like. It is a white onion. It might be a yellow onion. It's not a sweet onion. And it's dipped in dark chocolate. It has rainbow sprinkles on it. And that's it. And that's it. That's literally it. There's no salt. There's no sugar. It is an onion dipped in dark chocolate. We hit that tier in September. So we're going to be... There's a link to it in chat. Thank you, So Club. We should have a command for that. Maybe I'll make a command for that by Thursday. But we're going to go over there on an IRL stream, buy one, and eat one. I've never had one. I'm not going to have one beforehand. I'm not going to try to prep myself here. I'm not going to try to make this there's no TV magic going on. We're going to try it for the first time. And see how it goes. Wish you could see the face on me. I believe it. I asked the person who buys them. I asked the person working there recently, who buys these? How many? He said they sell a couple a month, and it's usually people buying gag gifts. Which duh. You can't cook with them. They're just there to be eaten. All right, we're at 3.5 minutes. I've got no peaks yet. We're still very liquidy, but we're getting there. You can see this is now turned into lots of very small air bubbles. So somewhere between 4 to 5 minutes is what I'm saying this takes. This may end up taking more than that. I mean, it depends on how much egg white you have, too. Now, in this recipe, I'm also going to have a note. I have a note. I don't have it on the recipe that I printed out. It's in like the head notes about what the transition phases of this look like. So we're not at stiff peaks yet, but we're getting there. It's sticking to the whisk a little bit more. Catalina, welcome in. Don't you have a hand mixer? I do. I have a hand mixer and I have a stand mixer that I could use for this if I wanted to. I mean, I'm going to suggest in the recipe that you use a hand mixer if you prefer it. I like doing this. I kind of like doing this by hand for a couple reasons. One of those reasons is you can get it like just to the point where it's perfect, and you tend not to over mix it. So that's one. That's the like technical reason. The other reason is that I'm trying to teach myself to be left-handed, and repetitive motions like this are super helpful. See, like I can do this with my right hand really easily, like pretty well. I don't have to think about it very much. If I go left-handed, it's slower. And less precise. So I know that's a weird thing, but I like doing repetitive motion stuff like that left-handed because it helps with that growth process. Okay, that is a stiff peak. Why do I want to be left-handed? Interesting question. Well, I don't necessarily want to be left-handed completely. I'd like to be ambidextrous. Beat the egg whites until they hold stiff peaks. That was about 6 minutes. Whisk in the powdered sugar until no lumps remain. Okay, so we're going to do about half of this at a time. I started trying to do things left-handed probably about 10 years ago as a brain exercise. Just to like, hey, I'd love to expand, like sort of like learning a new language or something of that nature, where you're just like, well, I'm gonna try this new thing that I haven't done, see if I can do it. That was quite literally my motivating factor, was just expanding my mental capacity. Does it feel like someone else is doing it? Sort of. I mean, it feels like it's odd to try things left-handed, because I feel like several things happen. One, it feels really awkward. But two, it's a disconnect, because your brain is like, you want to try it in the same way, but it's like the opposite motion of what you're doing right-handed. So like there's not any like direct correlation between the two. And I've found that you have for me anyway, what happens is I end up like relearning it, and often if I practice with it, I end up being better at something left-handed than I am right-handed, because I don't have this like built-in like sort of years of doing it. I don't want to say the wrong way, but like, you know, if no one taught you how to whisk and you just learned how to whisk, and then all of a sudden someone was like, you got to do it this way, it's hard to make that change. But like, if I'm doing it that way from the start, it's like handwriting, you know? Whisk in the lemon extract. Right, wait, lemon extract. Forgot about the lemon extract. How much lemon extract? Half a teaspoon of lemon extract. See, this is what happens. You're talking, and then you end up getting distracted. Half a teaspoon of lemon extract. Okay. Lemon. So I've often found if I'm trying something and I learn how to do it left-handed, I can do it just as well, if not better. Ultimately, I can do it just as well, if not better, than I was before. Try to find a left-handed fish spatula. Yeah, right. I don't think they exist. I'm sure they exist, but you probably have to order them on the internet. With a spatula, fold in the coconut until fully coconut. See, like this is not something I do left-handed, this folding method. So we're just trying it. I do have a redeem for switch dominant hand for that reason. Because sometimes I'll be doing something and I'll, you know, it'll be a repetitive thing. Often I'm chopping vegetables and someone will redeem that. And it's like, oh, now I have to like use a knife left-handed. Isn't that terrifying and dangerous? And like, yes, it is. Okay. Folding in the coconut. Yeah, this definitely looks different than the last time I made it, which was with the large chunks. Now, I will say this looks like I could add more coconut to it. I'm curious what the original recipe says here. So I'm going to pull that out and look. Let's see. How do I even find where that was? Is it on this page? Yeah. Enough coconut to make it as thick as can be easily stirred with a spoon. Okay. So this can be easily stirred with a spoon. So I think this is fine, and this is half a pound. So we're good here. I'm gonna go with what I have, because that worked last time. Onto each baking sheet, place 15 tablespoon-sized lumps of the mixture, about 20 grams each. 20 grams each. 20 grams. And then we're gonna go. Then we'll be into the oven shortly. Here we go. Meg, welcome in. Good to see you. I hope you had a good weekend. I know it's Tuesday. I'm still coming off what feels like a weekend, so Meg After Dark, fellow food and drink streamer. All right, 20 grams, about a tablespoon. Okay, that is a lot more liquidy than the first time I made these. So we're probably gonna end up with less. And I can't move these around. The last time I made these, they were like sticky. So I'm curious. When I say sticky, what I mean is these are sticky too. They were. I could move them after I put them on the sheet. I don't think I can do that this time. Frog Guys, thank you for your resub. I appreciate you. Welcome in. Happy Tuesday. So we're just going, and I'm kind of shaping these as I go. Let me move these a little bit over here. I'm glad they don't persecute the left-handed anymore. I mean, yeah, like, yes. Yes. I too am glad that left-handed people are not considered to be practitioners of witchcraft. I think that that's a very good development that we've had in our society. All right, so we're putting 20 grams each in these little piles here. I don't know. I'm pretty sure these are going to be just fine this close to each other. They don't spread very much. They puff. So they go up. They don't go out. Is my experience with them the last time. So here's hoping. 20 grams each. Kind of feel like they need some more coconut. Yeah, I'm getting that as well. Neil, I'm kind of like, I'm thinking that might be true. I'm also not sure what this original, obviously there's no pictures in here, so I don't have any sort of like context for what this is supposed to look like, and they don't describe the final product using any type of words. It's just until you can easily run a spoon through it is what they describe the soupy product to be. Now, I will say when I did make these the first time, they were very flat. They were a little bit taller than this though, because of because of the shreds. So we're gonna see how these turn out. And if these end up being like not quite the right consistency or height, I may make these again and like add a little bit more coconut to them. I'm making them sort of as prescribed based on my first test. So I only tested these once. This is the second test, and I'm trying a different type of coconut this time. So what I think I'm going to do, actually, is I think I might add some additional coconut to the bowl, because this is basically a 2-part recipe. You have half on the first tray and then half on the second tray. I might add another bit of coconut to the bowl, mix that in, and then see what they bake like on the second tray. And if they bake nicely on the second tray, then I will double the coconut that I put into there and use that. Okay, where is my timer? Yeah, pause. Very important. Where's my timer? There it is. It's hiding behind the bowl. Okay, so 15 to 17 minutes. Come on. Why does my 0 not work here? The timer's like not happy with me. $17 minutes. Okay, so a timer for 15, a timer for 17. Now, I put 2 cups. Here's where we're going to do some math, okay? They look for pretty nails. Oh no, I'm a witch. Robster says, if you were left-handed like me, you'd be omnidextrous. I am trying to be. Fine. I feel like the folks who are like actively trying to be left-handed would be even more persecuted somehow, because it'd be like, you're making a choice to leave. You're making a choice to leave the safe realm of the right-handed. Rusty, welcome in. Hello. Hope you had a good trip home. I did have a good trip home. It was easy. Left yesterday morning and came back. Ended up landing at night. Not 6-hour flight. 9 hours on the clock. Coming eastbound is so weird. You put the lemon in last, so there's no going, they're not going to look as good. I put the lemon in second to last after the coconut. I put the lemon in before the coconut. Bristol, this is the OXO triplicate timer. It's got like 3 different times that you can run on it at the same time. I'm going to add, okay, so if I added 2 cups of coconut to the entire thing, say I wanted to add 3 cups of coconut, I wanted to add another third, I would add half a cup of coconut to this, because that means, because I've got half of a batch here. Okay. See the math we just did? They made me choose. You got to choose what that is. Powdered sugar. No. We're not going to do that. Okay. Rusty, thank you for the gifts up to Meg. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's very nice, very nice of you to support a fellow food and drinky. What is that term that I just used? Food and drink streamer. Food and drinky. No. That's a weird one. Okay, we're gonna fold this in. I'm gonna fold in some more coconut. And basically, if this is a better consistency than the first batch that I just popped in the oven, what that means is I will want to have 3 cups of coconut instead of 2. Does that make sense? Food and drinky. I don't know where that came from in my brain. But yeah, y'all are doing really, really well. I think your broadcasts are super fun. And I always love, much like Rusty and Lady, I love when there's 2 people sort of bouncing off of each other. Not that that has to be the case, but I always appreciate the sort of like candor that happens when there's 2 folks who are sort of talking, because it also is nice if like, it's also nice when people disagree. I think it provides a very different atmosphere, which is super fun. Like for me, it's just me talking, you know, mostly. Occasionally there's guests. Occasionally there's other folks on the show. Occasionally my kid is on the show, which makes it, he gives me all the grief, so, you know. Looks like tomato aspect. Yo, the picture of this category, Neil, is awful. The food and drink category image is so bad. Okay, I just added a bunch of weight to this. So we're gonna see, I'm gonna measure out 20 grams of this also, but I don't actually know how many drops this is gonna make. I realized that weight wise, it actually should be the same no matter what. Because I was adding I was doing it by weight initially. Rusty, thank you. You're very kind. Yeah, we had a nice little panel that was super fun. I also appreciated getting to see people at the various like meetups that happened, at all the various like, there's a lot of opportunity to like, that I think Twitch created to like meet people, which was super cool. Okay. I was starting to like go down a rabbit hole about weight here and the actual like, are these the right thing? But I think if I just stick to the 20 grams, that was the right size. And these still look like they're the right size. Now these look a little bit more lofted, like they look like more, they appear to be more structured than that first round that's in the oven. So it may end up being that I want to add, that I do want to have this be more coconut, because the meringue element of this doesn't really take up a lot. It's not the coconut is like the binder that sort of holds everything together. We did go to TwitchCon, Meg. It was it was quite a few folks there from the food category, which I was not surprised about. I feel like that was the big difference for me this year versus other years, was that more people sort of self-identified as like food streamers, whereas there was more I feel like in the past there's been a lot of folks who are like, oh, I game, but I also do food, like I'll also cook occasionally. I think there was a lot of people who are more evenly balanced in their content, which was kind of cool to see. I think I made that one double the size by accident. Oops. Rusty since Vegas. Oh my god, I didn't even know what I was doing in Vegas. Vegas being my first TwitchCon was weird. Was very weird. Vegas itself was an odd place to be. I'm not a gambler, so it was a weird situation. But I feel like Rusty has been one of the folks that's been pretty much constantly supportive of myself and this sort of streaming evolution journey. Saying streaming journey sounds weird. It makes me feel like the influencers who are like, I'm on a weight loss journey, which is like, not really my vibe. So streaming journey always sounds fun. Sounds a little bit weird to me. I don't know. I want to get you a tablespoon dish. Well, I'm doing it by weight, Neil. So all of this is just by, I'm just like dropping little bits off the side until I get to the exact weight I want. I have several of the like scooper situations. I just choose not to use them. Julie says, Julie, welcome in. I like hanging out in non-game streams, not gonna lie. I do too. Can I make a confession, y'all? I don't game. I'm not a gamer. I don't game like at all. And not even like tabletop gaming. Like I'm just a not gaming person. And so I love Twitch, and I also find it confusing sometimes when I'm like, I don't know, trying to find something new. But they've made it helpful in category discovery, and I like that I can just kind of pick up whatever vibe I'm in that moment. Like music is a super frequent category for me. I'm like almost always in the music category. Music is basically replaced like podcasts and radio and all of that for me. So, Neil, that was your husband's first TwitchCon too. Yeah, I went to Vegas and then I went to San Diego the past 2 years. So, I think starting with Vegas, I'm like, I'm glad that I came back. Like, San Diego was so much better. So much better. Bristol, right? Ginger, welcome in. Speaking of TwitchCon friends, good to see you. We have some more TwitchCon folks in the house. A lot of good energy. I hope that y'all had a good a good con. I know Ginger streamed quite a bit, maybe not quite a bit, but a little bit during the actual conference itself, and had more time live than I did. I didn't have any time live during TwitchCon. Anyway, welcome in, Ginger. I know I got new swag from you, but this one has been on the fridge since last year. Right there, next to actually right there next to Rusty, who's up there too, and the sticker for the National Cornbread Festival. Anyway, welcome in. Let me say hi, tell you what we're up to today, introduce myself and the community, and then I will say hi to the folks who came through in chat. Hold on, checks timer. Okay, we have a couple minutes to do this. I have something in the oven now, so this is like we're on a timer. It's nice to meet you. My name's Lou. I'm a home cook, recipe developer, parent in Philadelphia. My pronouns are he, they, and I'm really glad that y'all are here. Stream is all about cooking and conversations, mostly like vegetable family meals, and recipe development, which I do, which we're working on today. But I also bake. We also make cookies pretty regularly. And sometimes we get out in the world and do IRL adventures in Philadelphia and like areas beyond. The last IRL was to the Ren Fest. The next IRL is going to be to go eat a chocolate onion. It's an onion covered in chocolate. We'll get into that later. Stream is all about all of that. Our community is enthusiastic about food primarily. This is a food stream, so mostly I'm cooking. We're all very kind of weird, a little bit spicy, not necessarily in the food side, but like, you know. And we try to maintain a safe space for folks who want to lurk as well as chat. So if lurking is your vibe, follows are always silent. There's no alerts. There's no sounds. And you're welcome to do that until such time as you want to feel compelled to say hi in chat. We're going to get back to making these coconut drops, retro coconut drops, in just a few minutes. But I want to ask y'all, what do y'all love about Ginger? What is your favorite part about the streamer who brought you here? I can tell you, I personally love Ginger's channel because she does all these amazing community-led interactions and games, and has a very dedicated group of folks that hang out regularly, which I know y'all know because we're just there, but is also like a genuine and like warm and kind person, both on stream and IRL. So let me scroll back and we're going to say hi to folks who are joining us now, and then we're going to check our coconut drops in the oven because that is going to be timer's going to go off in just a moment here. Oh, pause. We're going to check our coconut drops right this moment. So I'm just going to turn the light on. Whoop. Nope, those are peaking. Those are not quite done yet. I'm going to give those the last 2 minutes. Quilpy, welcome in. Dark Lord Snuggles, welcome in. Lisa Mack, hello. Cyberdial, hello. Double S Loco, happy Tuesday, welcome in. Rob, good to see you. Saw Rob again at TwitchCon. Met Rob a couple times now. Also a nice, genuine, kind human. And good supporter. Nice to have you. Mad Mods, welcome in. Love and fly tying. Are you a fisher person? Do you fish? I'm assuming you're talking about flies, like fish flies. Victorious, welcome in. No hose, Nikki B. Am I saying your name right? Welcome. Good to have you. Silver, welcome. Silver, thank you for the bits. I appreciate it. Campy Dave, welcome. Conductor Mikey, welcome. Siflip, thank you for the shout out. Uh-oh.
Daisy keeps busting down the kitten pen and eating all their food.
Our dog has eaten the kitten food yet again. I don't know. I didn't hear anything. She must have done that like much earlier. Love and Fly Time. Yes, amazing. Dr. Hex Mikey, welcome in. Hello. Well, these coconut things in the oven look very different than the ones before. I'm not sure how I feel about it. We're gonna get those out in just a moment and put these in. And then we're gonna make some notes on those. I feel like these are gonna be the better version.
I'm sorry.
I know, I can tell. You came in.
Angry.
Yeah, I can tell. You came in hot. Oof. Okay, let me get through here. Well, you're home now. Yeah. They look good? Did you just say they look good? Right, they do look good. We gotta... no, he's suspicious. We gotta cool these down a little bit. I'm gonna pop these in the oven. These are... What I just put in there is the same thing as just came out. But what I just put in there has more coconut than these do. So these look very interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Let me show you the original ones, not the original ones, the ones that I made last week, the first pass, as it were. So they look like this. And these look like this. So they don't really look the same. They don't look the same. I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna let these cool down a little bit. I think that they puffed, but now that they're not puffing, now that they're cooling and they're starting to lose some of their loft, I'm not sure that they are. Yeah, I think to the point, Neil, your point about adding more coconut, I do think that the coconut also helps them stay lofted. So let's leave those over there to cool off for a few minutes. I need to set a timer here for this next round, which we've done. So I asked when Ginger rated through, what do you like about your streamer? What do you like about Gingerbread Beauty's stream? And Double S Loco has answered in a very like lovely fashion. May I read it to you? Double S Loco says, Gingerbread Beauty is the equivalent to a British pub landlady. She runs the pub. You best turn up and be nice, pleasant, start a conversation, and put the world to right. Never politics or other controversial topics, but that's okay because we have thousands to talk about. Ginger lets us go crazy now and again with bits and subs, but if you're naughty, out you go. If you're naughty, out you go. Plus, if you sub for 3 months, you cannot leave. Okay, that last part sounds dubious, but I appreciate that, and I think that's what a lot of people love about a variety of different streams on Twitch is the like, hey, you can sort of get all the doom and gloom you want. You know, if you want to get into politics, if you want to get into the news and how that affects everything, you can do that in a lot of places on Twitch and elsewhere. And a lot of people don't necessarily want that out of their time, both streaming and consuming content. So I appreciate that, Double S Loco. It doesn't mean that you're not allowed to have an opinion. It means that sometimes people want to escape for a little bit, and that's okay too. Exceldra, welcome in. Hey, congrats on the new ATOM release. I got pinged. about it today, and I'm terrified to update anything. So, but congrats though. I appreciate all the work that you put in for that and for elsewhere. I'm using it right now. I'm actually using Atom. It's great. I switched over from a different vertical stream element tool. But welcome. Good to see you. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you have a good one. It is Tuesday. It's a weird day. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Tuesday is my least favorite day of the week, especially in like the corporate world, which I'm not in. But Tuesday was the day where everybody sort of got their head out of the weekend and decided to like start asking for stuff. That was also the day where like meetings picked up. I always hated Tuesday. I still don't love Tuesday, but it's not as bad, generally speaking. Now, the white bread day of the week, it's kind of there. Mark, I feel that. Oh, damn it! Did I just break that? No, I didn't. Thank gosh. I thought I might have broken the rubber band and I was going to have to get one of the other 1,000 out of the drawer. Okay, so here's what we're doing today. Let's recap because we're at like a pause point. We're testing 2 recipes. So for those of y'all who are new, this is just a food stream. I'm sorry if you were expecting gaming. I'm sorry if you were expecting non-kitchen related things. We do IRL stuff. We'll be IRL on Thursday, so we do some occasional non-kitchen things. But we're doing some recipe testing today. We're getting to that right now. The next item on the list is pizza mushrooms. We capitalized the pizza part, and then the mushroom part is in parentheses. So I'm like literally just juggling these bags. We're not gonna do it. We could do it. Can I juggle? Can I still juggle? This is weird. Nope. All right, put the bags down. Anyway, we're doing recipe development today. I've worked on these recipes for I've done 2 tests of the pizza mushrooms. I've done 1 test of the coconut drops. We have the coconut drops in the oven and on the counter. Here they are. Oh, we just took a chance and grabbed that with my bare hand. Could have still been hot. But yeah, these are definitely not anything like the ones that I made initially. Again, here's two of the other ones next to 2 of the ones I just pulled out of the oven. Kind of weird. Mark, using big portobello caps. I would love portobello caps would be amazing for these. I'm using creminis or cremini mushrooms, also called baby bellas. Mostly in the grocery store, you'd find them called baby bellas. They are the most accessible mushroom that you can get whole. I kind of love shiitake mushrooms for these, but you can't really get shiitake mushrooms whole unless you're getting the like really small. They're not as easy to find. A lot of your regular grocery stores, your like Giant, Acme, whatever. I don't know what grocery stores exist where y'all live. Sprouts, I think, usually has shiitake mushrooms whole. Usually when you get shiitakes, they're sliced, and you can't use sliced. Portobellos would be good. This recipe would definitely work for portobellos. I mean, like, the process would work for portobellos, but the recipe itself is meant for little, like, snackable things. They started basically. I started like making these just as a like after school style snack for my kid. Well, the caveat is he likes mushrooms already, so it wasn't a big sell for me to be like, here's some mushrooms. But he, anytime you can like add the word pizza to something, it makes it better, right? So we're gonna make those today. They're very straightforward. They use pizza sauce from a can. I'm an East Coaster, so I love me some Don Pepino pizza sauce using Jersey fresh tomatoes. I'm in Philadelphia. We're right next to New Jersey. Jersey fresh is like my favorite brand of crushed tomatoes. So do y'all have a favorite brand of crushed tomatoes? That's how you know you've entered into a food stream, when you're like, my favorite brand of crushed tomatoes. Most people are like, what are you even talking about? Okay. Neil says for sealing up the bags, use clothespins, and you have to use Ziplocs for the humidity. Yeah. I usually wrap mine up just like I did with a big rubber band, but I have for flour and brown sugar, I usually have like a container, right? And not usually, I have a crock container that I put them in. Because with the flour, I like being able to scoop it out of the container and like use the scoop to measure it, because I use weight mostly. Oh, excuse me. Creminis are the same variety as portobellos. It's how long they let them grow. And Neil, did you know that mushrooms more than double in size every 24 hours? We learned that at the Mushroom Festival when we went on stream this year. Oh, the Cento brand of tomato puree. Okay. See, y'all are my people who have your 7-in-1 crushed tomato favorites. Monet Dreams, welcome in. That's what's up. You gotta have a favorite brand of crushed tomatoes. We're using Phillips mushrooms. These are from the Phillips Mushroom Farm in Kennett Square. Speaking of Kennett Square, we're gonna try two ways today. We're gonna try basically two different small trays of mushrooms. One I'm gonna put on a wire rack. Now, why would you use a wire rack? You'd use a wire rack because mushrooms give up liquid when you cook them, and depending on how many mushrooms there are and what temperature you cook them at, they could be giving up a ton of liquid. So we're going to cook them on a wire rack so that when they start giving up their liquid, it falls and they're not sitting on them. That's going to keep the bottoms of them a little bit drier. It's also going to mean that the bottoms of them don't get like any type of Maillard or Maillard reaction. They're not going to get fried at all on the bottom from any of the oil. So there's a trade-off, right? I kind of think that they'll be fine just dry, but we're going to do a second batch. I got two of these containers. We're going to do a second batch on a tray with parchment paper that is just sitting on the tray. Now, I did these recently with shiitake mushrooms, and they were not good. They released too much liquid. The tray was like watery. There was a lot of liquid on the tray. It did not turn out very well. So, one, I'm not using shiitakes anymore because despite the fact that I like those better when they're crispy, they give up a lot of liquid and they're hard to find. So, we're abandoning the shiitake situation. We're moving to using creminis, aka Baby Bellas, and we'll try it basically two different ways. Costco crushed tomato because it's affordable. Yeah, exactly, Lemon. The more salt you put in it, the more basically like with any of them, you just season them, then they're fine, you know? Sofla says I use Unico, which is a Canadian company, canned tomatoes. Not super premium, but good. Yeah. Yes, like I don't think there's a big reason to use like the most expensive crushed tomatoes you can find. Like I personally love a specific brand, which also happens to be very inexpensive because it's local to where I live, which is helpful. So I really feel like with the mushroom situation too, you could use any kind of crushed tomatoes and just put them in. Make sure that the sauce has salt and pepper in them. I feel like that would be fine too. All right, so I'm gonna use one of the trays that I'm using for the coconut drops for this, and I think we'll use one of those trays with the wire rack, and then we'll put the regular other mushrooms just directly onto this sheet pan. Not directly onto it. We're going to put them on parchment paper. Palmy finely chopped ones. And again, Neil, though, if you're cooking them too, they're gonna break down. I do like a finely chopped can of tomatoes as opposed to crushed too, for most things. Shout out to all the people who found out the hard way that mushrooms were toxic, right? For the sake of everyone else. Yeah. I'm just imagining a time there, and that had to have happened a lot, right? Because like certainly there were people who just ate the mushrooms and died, and no one ever knew why they died. It was witchcraft. Shout out witchcraft. Not really. Or actually, you know what? Whatever. You do you. So we're going to try this, basically, we're going to dirty a lot of dishes here for the sake of science. Try this two different ways. One on parchment lined, one on a regular sheet pan. I'm going to line both of them with parchment. That way the mushroom juice doesn't like burn to the bottom of this pan. It's still going to burn in the places that it gets under the parchment, but you know, it'll be fine. Trying to preserve these pans just a little bit. I mean, they're already like not great. Okay, timer's going off for 15 minutes for those in here for the first round. I'm just gonna take a peek. They are starting to get there, but I'm gonna leave those for another minute and a half on the clock. That way they get all the way there. We want them to get all the way. Yeah, we're gonna do TARDIS. What I'm gonna do with these is I'm gonna prep the mushrooms in the same way. So I'm gonna prep the caps all at once, and then I'm just gonna put like half and half on each tray. What I'm gonna do is take them and I'm gonna follow the directions. I just started making these. I didn't read the directions. Let me read my recipe first. Gentle reminder to read your recipe before cooking. Okay. I'm hoping, my hope in general is that this version, the ones that are just on the parchment, not on the rack, are the better ones. Because that is even simpler than the parchment paper, or than the using a wire rack. So that's the ideal scenario, would be that these are fine, that these are acceptable and good. That's my hope. That is the hope. Okay, now we have just a second or two until these come out of the oven, so I'm gonna wait to start my mushroom prep for just a moment. These are about to come out. If you want to see the coconut drops fresh out of the oven, there's going to be a visual on screen here in just A moment. Just a moment. All right, here they are. These are they, fresh out of the oven. They look good. The bottoms of them look browned around the little feet. The tops look like they're singed just a little bit. And we're gonna let those cool right there on the sheet pan for just a few moments and see how that goes. Should we try one of the first ones from the first round? I'm gonna take one from the direct, maybe. I'm gonna take one from the direct middle, one from the edge, and one from the, can I get one out of the middle here? These are still kind of sticky underneath. I don't love that fact. So I do think that the more coconut, having more coconut adds something nice to it. So these are the first batch. These are the ones with less coconut in them. You can see they look kind of like cookies almost. They're very smooth on the top. There's not a lot of visible coconut. And then the bottom is very sticky. And they're very pliable. Like you can fold this in half. It is like a macaroon. Well, it tastes good, which I love. The taste is great. They're very flat. They're a lot more egg white than they are coconut. I kind of liked how they looked with the large chunks of coconut better. I'll try another one. Flat Cookie Friday. Are we making that a thing? Where have I heard that before? They tasted all right. Will these work for Cookie Club? No, I don't think so. I think they're too delicate. I think if I tried to vacuum pack these, they would work for Cookie Club if I packaged them in a like half pint container and put a lid on them or something. I don't think that I could vacuum seal these. I could put some large pieces on top. That's a good point. I think that to what I was kind of talking about earlier though, the coconut I think helps keep them thick. Like if I'm looking at the originals, the ones that I made last week, right? Like this has retained its loft as it is this like big chunky coconut. So I kind of like the look of this a little better. And this is completely dry at this point. Like this has spent a week drying out. These obviously just came out of the oven. And they're good. The flavor's there. My complaint is that the coconut is like big. It's like a lot of coconut. Yeah, we'll see. I feel like it's gonna be. I want to see how these ones turned out. The ones like just got out of the oven. I'm letting them cool off a little bit before. I'm gonna put those directly onto the counter. we'll let them cool off for just a little bit and make sure that we'll see how they go. They're a little bit better in terms of their height. They did not immediately start to collapse. The other ones, when I took them out, were basically like immediately like tiny. So we'll see. It should be a good experiment. I may end up trying these again tomorrow. Yeah, I may end up trying these again tomorrow. The thing is, they taste fine, so I'm gonna eat those, most of them, like tonight. Calvin also really liked those, so he'll be happy to have some fresh ones there. Okay, let's get started. We're gonna get started on our actual mushroom scenario here. So the recipe for this is super simple, shockingly enough. But I wrote it for shiitake mushrooms, so I'm gonna need to make some changes here. Anyway, it calls for a pound of mushrooms, which is basically two of these containers. 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 3/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, 3/4 cups of pizza sauce, and 1 1/4 cups of shredded whole milk mozzarella cheese. Step 1, prepare the mushrooms. Preheat the oven to 375. Okay, well, my oven's already on. Just gonna bump that up to 375. Line a sheet pan with parchment paper, which we did, but we're also trying it with the rack. On the sheet pan, mix together the mushroom caps, olive oil, salt, and pepper until the caps are coated. Turn the mushroom caps to the side with the gills face up. Okay, it also calls for the mushrooms to be cleaned, stems removed. So I'm gonna do that first, and we will, we have to weigh these. So I'm gonna weigh my final results here, because I know that this is different. The number of caps is very different when you're using creminis as opposed to shiitakes. Shiitakes, a pound of shiitake mushrooms will fill this entire sheet pan with everything like right next to each other. They're very thin, and they have yeah, they're very thin, so they don't weigh a lot. So there's like a pound of shiitake mushrooms is like 60, somewhere between 60 and 70 or so caps. So I'm cleaning these off. What we're doing is I'm going to clean these and take the stems out. I'm going to save the stems for stock. I'm going to toss the stems in my stock bag in the freezer. And then we'll just use the caps for this recipe. So I don't love that that I'm not using the caps for anything here, but I am going to recommend saving them, obviously, as I do. I would say that if you wanted to make mushrooms, like these are basically stuffed mushrooms, right? So you could also just take the stems and cut them up, like dice them up really finely, and mix them in with the sauce, which would be nice. Could use them as like a filling. Could fill half of them with sauce and then use the stems to fill like breaded mushrooms. I am just going to put them in my stock bag because they will make excellent broth. And I'm using my a little toothbrush, like a dedicated. This is a dedicated mushroom brush. The only thing it ever gets used for is cleaning mushrooms. It lives in the kitchen drawer. It is one of the single-use tools that I have in the kitchen. I don't love single-use tools, but cleaning mushrooms is an oddly specific task. And you don't, I mean, someone correct me if I'm wrong here, but you don't really want to soak, or not soak, you don't really want to run mushrooms under any water, because they already have a ton of liquid in them, and you don't need them to absorb more liquid. If anything, I think this recipe, or any recipe with mushrooms, would benefit from like a little layer of salt, like a little bit of a light salting ahead of time, and then letting them sit for like 20 minutes. But we're not doing that. We're making them and putting them in the oven. Yeah, no, you do need to dry them. That is true. You can rinse them. I choose not to, mostly. I love these types of mushrooms. Portobellos are obviously also very good because they have sort of this deep well in them. But I love these because of you can just fill that whole thing with sauce, and it like is quite delicious. Mushroom infused water. It is. You know, it doesn't do as well in the grocery store as I would think it does. I'm a big fan of the mushroom teas. The like lion's mane tea, that type of thing. Yeah, you fill the whole thing. Yes. Yes, you do, Levin. Right up to the top. Till it's practically overflowing. They aren't so absorbent until they've released their liquid. No, this is true. I mean, that's what they've they're retaining it all already. I love when you get dehydrated mushrooms and you like let them soak for a little while. They're so fun to watch get larger. Woman says you could wear them on the tips of your fingers like people with those chips, like bugles. Yeah. There you go. It's the what kind of fungus is that? Oh wait, don't brush the dirt off over top of the bowl of already brushed mushrooms. What are you doing? What are you doing? This is a little bit tedious, isn't it? I just don't want to dry them. That's all. That's really the net of it. All right. We got 2 more left in here. And then, like I said, I'm gonna season these in the bowl all together. And then, because I think I have enough for the filling and the seasoning. I know that those numbers are good. I don't need to worry about them. So we're gonna season them all together in the bowl here. And then I'll just put them on different sheet pans for the 2 different types of cooking. Just adding the stems to my freezer bag. This is the next time I make broth, it's going to be a very mushroom forward broth because I've made these mushrooms. This is the 3rd time I've made these mushrooms in the past like week and a half. It's kind of fine. Calvin likes them. So it's all good. Let me wash my hands here real quick. Just a moment. There we go. Neil says I have a porcini mushroom powder that I use for an umami boost and I don't want mushrooms in it. I love that type of thing where you can add the flavor without the physical thing, especially for people who are like potentially mushroom averse. It's always nice to be like, all right, well, the flavor is fine. What don't you like about mushrooms, right? A lot of people don't like the texture of mushrooms. It's not necessarily that they don't like the taste. So having something that adds the flavor without adding any additional like weirdness around the texture is ideal. Okay, so this ended up being 382 grams, 13 ounces. So this is, let's see. Just for the sake of counting, we also need to count how many there are in here. Okay, so we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. We're gonna mix that in. Okay. So let's add. I'm gonna add the salt first. Salt, then pepper, then the olive oil. So 3/4 teaspoon kosher salt. That's 1. 2. I've made this, and they were too salty the last time I made them. They weren't salty enough the first time. Then I added a whole teaspoon last time, and they were too salty. So I'm adding the salt and kind of giving these a little bit of a stir, and then I'll add the pepper and giving these a little bit of a stir, and then we'll add the olive oil last while I'm stirring it. Half a teaspoon of black pepper. So I'm using a 1/4 teaspoon measuring, just for like our reference point here. There we go. Half a teaspoon of black pepper. You know, you were trying to replicate chicken stock to make a vegetarian. Mostly what I make is vegetable stock with like 1 chicken carcass thrown in. Crispy mushrooms are great. I wish there is a world in which this process makes these mushrooms crispy, and I think that I'd have to cook it for a lot longer. That's my like sense. So I'm adding a 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I'm mixing. I'm gonna add 1 more tablespoon of olive oil and mix. And then we're gonna separate these out onto the trays before I put anything in them. Time. 15:15. All right. Good. We're doing good on time today, I think. Okay, so these are mixed, and now we're going to separate these out into their sheet pans. That didn't focus at all, did it? There we go. Salted, peppered, oiled, ready to go. So let's just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times 2 is 24. Okay, so a pound of shiitake mushrooms is about 60 mushrooms. A pound of creminis is about 24. That's a big difference. If you weren't weighing them, you'd have a lot of cremini mushrooms. So I would say 20 to 25 mushrooms is probably about right. Well, Mac, welcome in. Welcome. All right, so these are on the tray. 3/4 cups of pizza sauce, 6 ounces, 186 grams. I'm gonna measure that out. Now, this is it's one of those things where it's not necessary really, and like I'm definitely gonna say this. Like I'm certainly gonna say this in this write-up, but you don't really need to measure, right? Like you open the can, you take a teaspoon, you scoop it out, and you put a teaspoon in each mushroom cap until you're done. If it's a bigger cap, maybe put a little bit more. If it's a smaller cap, maybe put a little bit less. Whatever. But for the sake of like having a number to point to for like how much pizza sauce do you need, that's why you measure it out for the recipe, so that people know how much to buy. Like I haven't seen a smaller. This is the 14.5 ounces. This can is the smallest pizza sauce that you can get. At least for me, this is the smallest possible size sauce. Okay, so I'm adding about 6 ounces. It's 186 grams. So I want to go with the grams measurement first. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 187. Close enough. 6.6 ounces. Okay. Noted. So this amount of sauce should cover all of these mushrooms. Should. We're going to set that to the side and just leave it there for a moment. Okay. Do I have anything in the oven at the moment? No, I do not. Okay. Counter total non sequitur for the mushrooms. These coconut drops look much nicer. The second version look much nicer. They're cooling. They're cooling. They are. Yeah, they're cooling off. They're still a little sticky. Yeah, they still have a little bit of heat to them. So we're gonna let them cool down just a little bit more. We're gonna measure our cheese though. That's what we're doing next. 1 1/4 cup of shredded mozzarella cheese, 4.3 ounces, about 140 grams. So I have some cheese already. Let's see if this is enough. It might be, it might not be. I am going to measure this out with a cup measure. Because this is something where I think most folks, when they're making recipes, don't, especially something like this, are not going to use weight. Like they're not going to break out the scale to measure out the right amount of cheese, and nor should you. The best thing for this would just be, and I'm saying all of this just to be clear, like I'm definitely saying all of this in like the notes for this recipe. Like, you don't need to weigh or really even measure. You just need to like get a pinch of cheese and put it on top of the thing. Like, this is not baking here. This is not like a scientific endeavor. Your goal should be just like put a little cheese on top of each mushroom and like move along, right? Not difficult. But again, when you're writing a thing, people need to know how much to buy for things like this. Okay. Ooh, I caught that with my leg. That bag was open and I caught that with my leg, and it was about to spill all that cheese right onto the floor. That would have been really bad. Okay, so I am measuring this. So there's a cup and a quarter. I like this cup measure because it has quarter, half, and 3/4 measurements noted on the inside. There's a cup and a quarter at 156 grams. I have 154 in the thing. I put 140 on my recipe. That's about right. That should be the right amount. Okay, burp the bag, and we are good to go. I'm gonna put my ingredients over there, and we're gonna move to topping these mushrooms. Now, how long do these need to bake for? 15 minutes. Okay. Top the mushrooms. Using a spoon, fill each cap with about 1 teaspoon of pizza sauce, and using the back of the spoon, spread the sauce evenly to the cap's edge. You may need more or less depending on the size of your mushroom caps. Using your fingers, top each cap with a pinch of cheese, about 1 tablespoon, spreading into a single layer. Easy. Okay, so with a spoon, I'm going to put a little bit of pizza sauce into each mushroom. So, just a little bit goes in to each. Joe, welcome in. Good to see you, Joe. Hope you're having a good Tuesday. We're making pizza mushrooms. Adding a little bit of sauce to each mushroom here. Now this one, one of them where the side came off, so I'm going to tilt that one against another one so that it doesn't all just run out. Mamma mia. Here we go again. Here we go again. Great. Now that's in my head. Thank you. Okay, a little bit more in some of these. Perfect. Yeah, get these big ones. Get these big ones filled. My, how could I forget? Mamma mia, it's my show again. Okay, I'm gonna top these with a little pinch of cheese, and then I'm gonna pop these in the oven because I kind of want to put these in. I don't want to put these in at the same time. I want to put one tray in, bake it, and then put the next tray in. And in between those trays, we're going to evaluate our coconut drops. And I'm putting this one in first. This is the one that just goes on the sheet pan. As opposed to on the tray. Now, Neil, the pizza stone would be great. My only hesitation for doing that would be all the liquid that comes out of these, because I do not want all that liquid running all over my pizza stone and then out into the bottom of my oven. I definitely agree with you. they would be probably tasty on the pizza stone. But I have hesitations about that. I think that would be, I like the idea for that. Now, I could probably do that today and it would turn out fine, and turn out better. My hesitation for calling for that, one, is that I would be requiring someone who's making this recipe to have a pizza stone. But the other reason I would not want to do that as the primary direction would be because the pizza stone needs a good amount of time to heat up to be effective like that. Okay. So we've got cheese and mushrooms. These are pretty much ready to go here. I'm going to take, so I can get a little bit of this cheese off the tray. The preheating the pizza stone is a really important step for using a pizza stone. And I don't want to ask people to turn their oven on too far in advance. Okay. So these are good. We're ready to pop these in the oven, and we're going to go ahead and do that. So oven is at 375. I'm going to put those in. These call for a 15-minute cook time. So we're going to turn the oven on for 15 minutes. It says bake for 15 minutes until the mushrooms have softened and the sauce is beginning to bubble under the cheese. Turn the broiler on high and broil for an additional minute until the cheese is bubbling and starting to brown, which is a pretty easy direction to follow. I don't mind telling people to turn the broiler on for just a minute because I think that is, that's always helpful just to like finish melting and browning the cheese. Okay, let's get these filled. So again, we have the difference between these two trays. We have one tray that's in the oven that is just on the sheet pan, parchment paper lining. The mushrooms are on the sheet pan itself. They've contacted the sheet pan. This tray is a sheet pan where I did line it with parchment, but only to capture the liquid when it falls. The mushrooms are sitting on top of a wire rack on here, and they are, the goal is when the mushrooms cook, they release the liquid. And the goal of putting them on the wire rack is that the liquid falls away from the mushrooms and keeps them relatively dry. One of the things when you're roasting mushrooms, just like mushroom caps or whole mushrooms, I suppose, is if you want them to get crispy, you have to cook them, drain them, and then cook them again. That's like the technique. I have an Ash next to me. He is demanding and he's demanding, hey, whoa, that's cheese, buddy. We have a cat. This is Ash. Command Ash, ASH. In chat, he is here to observe. He definitely missed me while I was away at TwitchCon. He has been trying to climb on me all day. And thank you. Boris, hello. Hello. Yes. This one missed. He missed. Yes, he very much missed his morning snuggle. Ash and I in the morning, after I take Calvin to the bus stop, we sit together when I come home. And I think he missed that. He was at my feet, demanding attention. Now he's just melted. Yeah. This is a very satisfied cat. Yes. Mm-hmm. Big paws. Mm-hmm. Ash, we're making pizza mushrooms. Look at him. He's just like, he's relaxed. He's just completely relaxed. Baby, you interrupted. He's interrupted. He looks stoned. Look at him. We have cat emotes. We have brand new cat emotes for all three cats now. There's an Ash emote, there's an Obi emote, and there's an Elsie emote. And there's a Daisy emote. This is true. No, he does not count as awake. Ash, we will continue this a little later. Okay? He came up, he was pawing at my leg and like just standing next to me, pawing at my leg, trying to get up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, you were. And I didn't pick you up quick enough, so you decided to jump. Mm-hmm. Big paws. Okay. I'm gonna get down now, though, okay? Can I hold you a little later? We're gonna watch TV together later, yeah? You can watch last week's Survivor. Yeah, Daddy missed it. We missed Survivor. Okay, I'm gonna put you down though. Here we go. Good. Okay. We'll wash my hands. We'll wash my hands real quick here before continuing. Woman, that's really funny with the hands. Yeah, all the cats have their own little emotes now. They're all represented. Alrighty. I think I need to adjust how much cheese I need for these too, because I was using a lot more for the shiitake mushrooms, and now that I'm not using like 60 plus mushroom caps, I don't need as much cheese. But we'll see. We'll get there. We'll see how much we end up using, and then I'll measure what we have left, and that'll be the difference. All right, these look great. And this is within the acceptable difference for the actual amount of sauce. I say acceptable difference, I mean, like, obviously not all of your mushrooms are going to be the same size. So acceptable difference. There's like a 2 tablespoons worth of sauce left in there. Okay. Well, this is actually kind of nice, because if I do these over the grate, I can just pick the grate up and scrape all the cheese that falls together through. I can pick the grate up and scrape together all of the cheese that fell through. There we go. Take 2. Yeah, I mean, this is like, I'm ending up using not as much cheese at all. Good. That's a good thing. No, bud. Bud. But I want... Listen. I can't hold you the whole time, okay? I know. I know. This cat missed me. He definitely missed me. This one was mine. This one sits with me the most. And I don't... He doesn't really sit with... He sits with Calvin a little bit. Baby, I missed you too. Is it me or is it the cheese? Okay. Okay. Listen. We gotta. I'm gonna be sitting a little later, and we can do all sorts of sitting and holding in a little bit. It's not gonna be that long. Do you want to just lay on the floor there? You can lay on the... You like laying at my feet. These cats are... This one is so weird. He's now he's laying on the floor down there. Good boy. You're a good kitty. Psst, psst. You're pretty. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. He's rolling around on his back. All of our cats are so weird. It's fine. It's the environment that they're being raised in. Okay. These look good. Let me scrape together this cheese that's on the pan here, and we'll be ready to pop these in the oven. Now I'm gonna pop these in the oven not right away. I'm gonna wait until... The other ones have about 4 minutes left. And I'm gonna wait until they're done to put these in, because I want to be able to put the tray like right in the middle of the oven. Like, that's the goal. So, how much cheese do we have left here? Let's see. We have... He's licking my ankle. We have somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2 cup of cheese. So I think that probably just saying 1 cup of shredded cheese will be fine here. The sauce was just about the right amount, but this is like a good amount. Don't you bite my ankle. Don't. No. Licking is fine. Biting is not. Okay. We're talking about the cat on the floor. Hey. I said no. That's a hard no for me. No. Stop it. Now he's trying to fucking fight me. Unbelievable. Okay. Let me put these ingredients away while I'm waiting for this to finish here. And then we're going to take a look at one of these macaroons as I rotate the mushrooms out. The pizza sauce, I'm actually going to put in a... I'm actually just going to dump the rest of this can into the container that I was measuring it in. Pop that back in the fridge. Now this one can of this makes enough, would make enough for like 2 pounds worth of mushrooms at least. I think the thing I like about that sauce, the most about that sauce, is it's not super salty. Adding your own salt is important. All right. That's good. Pizza sauce is good. We got about a minute left on the mushrooms in the oven. I haven't opened the oven. I haven't even really looked at them since I put them in there. So let's put some eyes on here and see if these are, what are these doing? Well, the cheese is melting. The pan is definitely got liquid on it. I can see the cheese, I can see the sauce bubbling from underneath of the cheese. So that is basically exactly what these are basically exactly where I'm hoping they would be. Have about 40 seconds left on that. So when I get to in just a moment here, I'm going to turn the broiler on, and then we'll give these 1 minute under the broiler, and then we'll be ready to throw the next batch in. All right, turn the broiler on high, broil high, and about 10 seconds later, when it kicks in, we will start our timer. Yeah, these have a lot less liquid than the shiitakes on them. Okay, 1 minute for the broiler is going. There goes the broiler. All right, perfect. So in 1 minute, we're going to pull those out of the oven. I'm going to pop these in. I'm going to remember to turn the oven back to the right temperature and not be on broiling, because these would cook too quick if I broiled them. And then once those next batch are in the oven, we're going to try one of the ones that I am pulling out momentarily here, and then we're going to take a look at these coconut drops and determine what we need to do to finalize the recipe for those, because they look pretty good. The ones that I pulled out look okay. Okay, timer just went off for those. Let's see. You know, I don't think the broiling step is actually necessary here. Not gonna lie. I think if I'm gonna broil them, maybe I broil them for like 2 minutes. I'm gonna give these 1 more minute. I think that 1 minute worth of broiling is not worth doing, especially if the cheese is already melted. So I'm gonna try them for another minute and see, do they look nicer? Do they look kind of browner? Like, one of the neat things about pizza is the big brown bubbles that you get. Like, will the cheese get any type of like big brown spots on it? If so, will it make it look better or worse? Let's see. I'm just giving those another 30 seconds here. I can tell you that the broiler certainly gets the rest of this cheese melting. It is, everything is bubbling now. And the sauce is basically boiling underneath of these things. Okay. 2, 1, stop. Let's see, clear. Okay, so let's take the oven, turn it to my temperature again, 375. We'll take these out. I want the broiler to go off before I put these in, because I don't want them to... Okay, broiler is off. So putting these in. Now, let me show you what I'm talking about with these as opposed to let me show you what I'm talking about with these. So let's look. Enjoy your evening. Happy to be your evening time ASMR as you go to sleep. I'll try not to yell. If you hear me yell, it probably means I burned myself. All right, so this is the shrooms that I just pulled out, the ones that are just sitting on the tray, and you can see here there's a bit of liquid. You can see as I move the tray around, you can see the liquid running on the tray. So that means that these are wet. They're not the bottoms of these, the feet, as it were, are wet, which is potentially fine. I know that with a shiitake mushroom, they are much thinner and flatter. So if the shiitake mushroom gets this wet, it is limp. You cannot hold on, like you need a fork to eat it, period. Like full stop. You need a fork to eat it. These are a much more robust, like thick mushroom. So you're not going to need as much. You can eat this. You should be able to eat this with your hands. I'm going to take one off the tray and cut it open. I'm going to get a cross section of it. I'll show you a cross section. Let's get a couple different sizes here. Oh, I want to take a picture of these before I dig in. So I do kind of like the broiling that I did here. The browning is Liz, can you tell I just read your question? The browning is really nice on the top of one of these. Not all of them, but one of them. Why can I list this? May I ask why you have plates in your drawer? Or in a drawer? Well, these are basically just snack plates. They're like serving plates, or they're like for cookies, etc. Like if I'm just getting like a couple cookies and I need something to sit them on, I put them on there. These are why are they in that drawer? I actually don't know. They're in that drawer because otherwise I would have to stack them on top of the plates that I use in the cabinet, and I don't use these as frequently. And they're also like Calvin uses them more often, so he can get to them. He can get to them a little easier. Cowgirl, welcome. Even though I do not like mushrooms, they look good. Well, I appreciate that. I think they look decent. They're still pretty warm. But you can see, I mean, there's still even just like this like liquid down here is not like that's. There's liquid on here from the cheese. There's liquid on here from the sauce. There's liquid on here from the mushrooms themselves. So these are just like a wet dish, for lack of a better term, which I don't love. So I'm kind of excited. I want to see how these other ones turn out on the rack. We'll see. I hope they look okay. All right, I'm gonna take a picture of these before I start, before I dig in, so that I remember. So I'm gonna, yeah, take a picture, and then we'll do, we'll take a look at a cross section. Okay, one of these. Nope. Yeah, these are still, oh God, these are aggressively hot still. You could totally air fry them. You could totally air fry these. Yeah, these are looking all right. There's a little cross section for you. I definitely like these, the way that these are structured, and the way that they, even sitting on the liquid in the tray, right? Like this is still a thing you could pick up with your hands and eat. That's great. All right, that was the right amount of salt on the mushrooms themselves. I really do love these. They are, the creminis are the way to go. Because even with the liquid, they hold up well in the tray. The shiitakes are super flat, and I don't love that. Let's see if I can get a better... The cheese is really delicate. The whole thing is actually kind of weirdly delicate. Yeah, there's no reason to cut this. No reason to cut this other than to like look at it. The sauce is dripping out. Let's see. Kind of giving these a look over here. They look good. The ones in the oven are looking good. Could serve these at a delicatessen. You know what I would do? See, I'm trying to keep this simple. The difficult part about this is I know exactly what I would do with these if I was making them. If I wanted to get like the perfect pizza mushroom, right? Like the perfect. How would I do this to make them like really amazing? If I was doing them, say, for a party or something like that. This is not how I would make them. If I was making these, I wanted them to be perfect. I would first salt them. I would salt, pepper, and oil them and let them sit in a colander for like 30 to 30 minutes or so. Then I would roast them with nothing in them. I would roast them with so we're roasting them cap up, or like, you know, with the cap down, I would say. We're roasting them in a cup like this for this recipe. I would roast them face down for like 20 to 30 minutes, and then I would drain them in a colander or whatever. I would drain them. I would take the liquid off the tray. I would basically roast them to get a lot of that liquid out, and then I would hit reset, and then I would turn them upside down, fill them, and then roast them again. So that as I got as much liquid out of there as possible. I would probably roast them at a very low temperature to start, somewhere like 275, 300. I might roast them without filling for, I don't know, 45 minutes or so at a low temperature to get all of that liquid out. Like all this liquid that's now on my plate, a lot of that came from the sauce, but some of that came from the mushroom. So to get all the liquid out of the mushroom, I would roast them first, season them, drain them, season, rest, roast, drain. Then I would fill. then I would roast them again. And you could sear them in a pan too. Yeah, I would try to get as much of the liquid out as possible. I might also call for adding a little bit less sauce to each cap, because each cap it's also leaching liquid into the inside. Maybe. 15:57. My kid should be home any moment now. Might be him right now. Oh, it is. Hello. How's it going?
Good.
If you want to change your shirt, I got some pizza mushrooms you could take a look, try.
Or if I don't want to change my shirt and I want pizza mushrooms.
Well, you could try them, but you can't come on stream and talk about them. This is the first round. I have another round in the oven that's cooking on a wire rack that's like a little, they're gonna be less liquidy. So, you wanna try?
Hot?
No.
Sorry.
Yep. Yeah, give it a try. See what you think. Mike, it was a cooked sauce. So this is Jersey, this is Don Pepino's pizza sauce. Gluten-free, fully prepared, made with Jersey fresh tomatoes.
Has a little bit of spice this time.
Calvin says it has a little bit of spice. I didn't change anything about the seasoning, but I don't disagree with you. I used the same amount of pepper and there were less mushroom caps. That's probably what you're getting. Yeah. You love the mascot, Joe? Yeah. the Don Pepino. Yeah, this is so funny. I always look for this label, the Jersey Fresh Tomato label, because that means that sort of regardless of where this was processed, the tomatoes were relatively local. This one was processed in Parsippany, New Jersey, which is pretty close to where I am. Was that one hot? A little bit.
It was also very
Juicy. Okay. Well, what do you...
less salt, the appropriate amount of salt.
Calvin says they're the appropriate amount of salt. Okay, good. I used... The first batch, I used a half a teaspoon. The second batch, I used a whole teaspoon. This batch, I used 3/4 of a teaspoon. Okay, so they're in like the Goldilocks zone of salt. Did you just finish all those? It's no, it's fine if you did. I'm just like, I'm noting that you just ate the rest of them. Okay, I'll take that tray back. Well, they weren't bad.
Yeah, I'm like, wait,
I think, so, and this is what I was talking about earlier. What I was talking about earlier was
that coconut stuff.
It is. You can have one of those. So these are. See, this is why I wanted you to change your shirt, because now I have to come over here to interact with you.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. There's that one. So try that one. And then try this one. Okay. I could put the sauce in a strainer. Again, though, simple. The less, like, this has to have, this is acceptable. 100%. So what I was saying earlier is, if this tray with the liquid and all of that on there is acceptable, then that's the version. Regardless of what I would do separately for my own, if I'm just like in the kitchen sort of making things up as I go, I'm doing all the steps that I said earlier.
It's funny that guy is holding another can of it of him holding another can, of him holding another can.
It is funny. Okay, hold on. We have to transition to broil because I just hit 15 minutes. Okay. Nope, that was 21 minutes. Okay. I turned the broiler on. Yeah, the goal is less ingredients, less steps. If I don't have to drain the sauce, I don't want to drain the sauce. I could drain the sauce. I could definitely drain the sauce. But I don't really... It adds complexity. And the goal is reduce complexity. Sometimes the reduction of complexity comes at the sake of texture and taste. And that's the trade-off. Now, all things the same, if these mushrooms that are in the oven right now are phenomenally better than these, I will say to put them on a wire rack, because it's like, yes, it's an extra dish, but it's an extra thing to clean, but complexity wise, it's not that different at all than this. I'm not calling even to grease. Well, we'll see. Let's just say I'm not calling to grease the wire rack, but we'll see if they stick or not. If they stick too much, then I definitely will. Ooh, Wyoma says I'm making a lasagna soup and I used a bag of tomatoes that were freshly pureed and frozen. That sounds kind of amazing. That's like the perfect thing to make with frozen tomatoes is soup, because they're going to break down anyway. So that sounds great. Let me wash my hands here real quick. Hold on. Okay. Liz asks, what will dinner be tonight? I don't know. I don't really know, actually. Haven't gotten there yet. I didn't do any meal planning for this week. I planned like what I was making on stream, but none of that is dinner. So, I don't actually know what dinner is going to be tonight. We had cheesesteaks last night.
Oh, I still have a half of mine.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, maybe we'll just have some leftovers for dinner tonight.
Oh! These steak was very good.
Well, at least he's into it. The other recipe shows you cook them in a cast iron skillet in the oven. That probably would help, Liz, especially if you. I was thinking kind of like the pizza stone note we were talking about earlier. If you preheated it, it would work really, really well.
I need the school thing Thursday.
The school thing, the permission slip.
No, the food.
Oh yeah, on Thursday, right? Okay.
That's what I'm presenting.
Okay. Yeah, I'm planning on making your school stuff tomorrow.
Okay.
On stream. Like that's going to be tomorrow's stream. Yeah. Yeah, we do have... Oh, I forgot about quiche. I forgot we probably do have quiche.
$80.
There'll be something from the freezer. Yeah, Calvin will eat... you know what we'll probably do? We'll probably have soup, honestly. Like, he can eat his cheesesteak, and then Gwen and I can have, like, soup. Or, I don't know, she might have leftover food. Actually, I don't know. It's not going to be complex. I'm not making anything. That is for sure. We're not making anything, and I'm not ordering anything. It's just whatever I can rustle up. Okay, these... I just pulled these out of the oven. Let me show you these mushrooms. These actually look a little better. These look a little better, mainly because I didn't open the oven at all. I'm pretty sure, like, I didn't open the oven. I didn't let any heat out, but these look great. We'll let those cool for just a moment before trying them, and then we'll give them a shot and see how they go. I'm gonna get a clean plate because I'm gonna take a picture of these as well. And I'm glad, Calvin ate the rest of the other ones, so they were good. I thought they were pretty good These have to be a lot better than the other ones in order for this to be worth adding this additional like item into the process. At least in my perspective. Hold on. Okay, we can turn the oven off now. Oven is off, nothing is in it. Confirmed. Okay, let's get these. Okay, so thing one, I do not need to say that to oil the tray or oil the rack, because these just slide off right away. Probably because of how liquidy they are. I'm going to try a couple of these. So we got some large ones, we got some small ones. Let me take a photo. These, of all the ones that I've made so far, these look the best. They look the nicest on the side. So here you go. Here's a visual, pizza mushroom visual. These are the best looking ones of all the ones that all the different versions that have been made. So they're looking pretty solid, I think. Let's see if they photograph well. Whoa, that tray's still hot. There we go. Okay. And then I'll get Calvin down here to try this version of them and give me his thoughts, because these, as I have mentioned, already, I believe, are mainly meant for kids. They're meant to have some kind of, like, you know, when kids come home from school, like snack time sort of situation. Okay. Let's cut these as well. Get a cut version of these. I want to. The cheese makes it really difficult to cut, honestly. Let's see if I can do like. So we can score this first. Once you're through, the cheese like slides off, but once you're through the cheese, it is kind of fine. Nope. Abject disaster. Okay, fair. Well, whatever. I do not have a convection oven, you know, unfortunately. I wish I did. It would be nice to have a convection. These are steaming. Let's put it directly into my mouth. See if it works. Okay. I don't know that these are meaningfully better. They're drier. I will say that. The actual mushroom base, the bottom, I guess it's a little bit drier. No, not really. I think what I would do is this for this recipe. I think I would recommend that you use a wire rack. But I don't think I would say that you have to use one. I also think I'd make these with a little less sauce in them. Like, part of why these are so juicy is because that I filled them all the way to the top with the sauce. I think if I did not fill them all the way to the top, they would still get liquid inside of them. These are really tasty though. I'm very happy with them. I mean, this is one of those things that, like, you don't really need a recipe for this. You don't. But it's helpful to have one, I guess. Callie! Come try these other ones. Tell me if you like them better or not. Yeah, Neil, I think that's kind of like Liz was mentioning a minute ago that like she saw them in a cast iron pan. They might.
All of them are just. We're just done. Just.
You can eat as many of them as you want.
Oh. This is the new batch.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do anything different?
The only difference between that one and the other one that you just had was that I put those on a wire rack.
Does that make a big difference?
The difference that I think that it might make is that they are a little bit drier. Like the mushrooms themselves are a little bit drier. Do you remember when we had the shiitakes and they were like, you could not pick them up, right? Like if you did the shiitakes on that, they might be better. But no, there's not really a meaningful, big meaningful difference between them.
It's not like about the taste. It's more about the texture.
Right. Yeah, and it's gonna be hot. You just pick the biggest one. I'm gonna before you finish these, I'm gonna try this one.
I'm gonna wait a second.
I definitely think that broiling them and having that browned crispy cheese is important. That one had like a bunch of brown crisp around the outside, and it was better. Because the mushrooms themselves aren't crispy, which I would love, but again, I think it would take, I think the process would be a little bit too complex. It might fry the bottoms with oil. That's true. I wonder if you could put them in. I'm just thinking about like a preheated cast iron. If you had a preheated cast iron that you put a little bit of oil into and then you kind of put them in, that might work. Because that would also fry off a bit of the water, the liquid that leaches out. I love focaccia too. I make focaccia in a big like 9x13 metal pan. So good. I'd make it tonight, except I'd have to have started yesterday and I didn't. Oh well. What do you think, Calvin?
I think they taste similar.
Yeah.
To the other ones.
They should taste relatively similar.
I do see what you mean by like a little drier.
Okay.
But yeah, I think they taste similar.
Okay. But you like them. They're good. Okay, I'm gonna have one more. All right. Yeah, when I was saying with the browning, like that one has some nice browning on top of it. That's why I grabbed that one.
Can I have 1 minute, maybe? Right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
Yes. Okay. Let's evaluate these coconut
You
drops.
want one more?
Have it.
Okay.
Eat what you want. If you want both of them, have both of them. If you are like, I just want one more, then I'll eat that last one. Yeah, it's hot. He's shrunk, I know. He's wearing his school shirt, so can't be on camera. Go ahead, have it if you want it.
Eating this first.
Okay. It's hot in here. This room is very hot.
Wait, when I came in.
Open this window a crack. All right. So, Calvin, what do you think, though? Do you have a distinct preference between the
the two that I just had today.
The two
I
different
like
versions.
these.
Okay.
They feel less messy.
Less messy. Okay. I think
More Ronaldo.
more
No.
Ronaldo.
Messi's better.
Okay.
But, yes.
Terrible. Okay, so the wire rack is a good recommendation. I would say wire rack is good and use it if you have it, but it's not required in order to make them. Right? Would you
Yeah.
co-sign on that?
I'm full. You can have this.
You're full? Okay. Happy to. Well, between the two of us, we just ate a pound of mushrooms, so that's good.
Well, that means that we had, each of us had half of 1/12 of what. So we had 1/24 of what the person at the Mushroom Festival's world record was. Record there.
Okay.
We're doing fractions in school.
Yeah, you're doing fractions in school? Shocking. Okay.
We're starting like a fraction of another fraction.
Okay.
That's why I was saying like 1/2 of 1/12.
Understood. Okay. Cool. Thank you for your input. What did you think of the coconut drops?
I think that's very good.
Did you like one better than the other?
I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention. I was just eating.
He says he wasn't paying attention. He was just eating them. Okay. Well, we're going to figure out which one I like better right now. Okay. So,
Dang.
pizza mushroom recipe notes. Turn the broiler on high and broil for an
There
additional
we go.
2 minutes. They always ask me for how do
You want any of that?
No, thank you. They always ask how do you store these? You don't. You're not going to store
Oh my
these.
god. I'm dumb. I'm like, where did I put my sweatshirt? It's right under there.
Fill each cap with
Okay, I'm going back up.
up to 1 teaspoon of pizza sauce. Okay.
Love you.
Let me do. Okay, we can get rid of this note about spreading it evenly to the edge because that was basically for shiitakes. You may need more or less depending on the size of your mushroom caps. I'm going to also say do not fill the mushroom caps completely. A little is better than a lot. Okay. Preheat the oven to 375. Place a wire rack on a sheet pan. In a large bowl, toss the mushroom caps with olive oil, salt, and pepper until well coated. Place the mushrooms upside down on the wire rack. Okay, good. Yes, we want to do this in a large bowl. And everything else looks good. Joe says, I design board games for my job, and your recipe writing process is akin to writing game rules. Yeah. It's like you got to think of the thing that everybody needs. Like you have to visualize it. And when you're reading a recipe and planning it, how to make it in your kitchen, you're visualizing what tools to use, you're visualizing what how you're chopping, like what you're putting things in, all of that. I think when you're writing it, you're trying to visualize, for me anyway, I'm trying to visualize like it's like the like that exercise of like write directions on how to make a peanut butter sandwich, right? And it's like take the bread and spread it with peanut butter. And then people will take the loaf of bread, not take it out of the plastic, and if you read it, then you read it literally to illustrate the point, and like they don't take it out of, they take the loaf of bread in the plastic, and maybe they'll decide to like spread the peanut butter on the plastic bag on the outside of the loaf or whatever, you know, stupid stuff like that. But it's, yeah, you're illustrating. The goal is to tell people exactly what they need to do without telling them too much, right? Like, do you have to tell them that upside down means the gill side facing up? Or can you leave that part out and just assume that people know what upside down means when it comes to a mushroom? That's not like, that's a real question. Like, when I edit this, I'm going to decide whether to leave that in or take it out. And then the editor will decide whether or not I should have had it or not. Neil says, I tend to taste and adjust. And that's the thing. When you're writing a recipe, you have to remember, where do I include the salt? How much? And for me, when I'm trying to keep things very straightforward and simple, I am talking about doing, I'm always like, I'm a big fan of, can I add all of the salt at once in one spot? And if so, like, what is that spot? Because I get frustrated when I'm reading a recipe and it's like, you know, 2 cups of flour separated. And I'm like, okay, so that means I have to add the flour in 2 different steps. And now I have to keep track of like 2 different measurements of flour. Like, I would prefer to have it be all at the same time. Salt at the same time, pepper at the same time, like that kind of thing. And so often when I'm working on something, like I was making a soup. I've done 2 soups recently, and one of the one was this tomato soup. And if I'm making it just for myself, I'm not measuring at all. I'm adding like a pinch of salt when I do the onions and the garlic. I'm adding another pinch of salt when I do the tomatoes. I'm adding another pinch of salt when I add the broth in. So I'm salting it as I go. But when I'm writing the recipe, I'm like, okay, which of these steps gets all of the salt? And for that one, I forget where it was, but like that's a decision that I'm usually thinking about and considering. Yeah, Joe, I don't assume that people understand very much. Usually I put all the detail in and then I peel back a little bit, right? Well, the pictures and video helps. Absolutely. Yeah. When I was making those pecan cookies that I made for Cookie Club, not last month, but the month before that, like we watched the video of the person who developed the recipe making the recipe for that reason. So I was like, these are complex and I don't know what some of these things even look like. I don't know what the final product of a pecan toffee looks like. Just let me watch this person make it, you know? Instructions, taste and adjust seasoning. Yeah, adjust seasoning to taste is like, yeah, salt and pepper to taste, adjust seasoning to taste. Like that note is always in there for sure. For sure. That's like a super common one. Okay. Now, here's the thing. These are a little bit difficult to get off of this tray. They don't fall off, even though they're very dry. So what's the best way to get these off? A little twist? No. No. I do think I need to, I think I need to oil this tray somehow. And I think the oil might actually help the bottom brown a little bit. I'm kind of like, I was erring on the side of not doing that, but like, I think it would probably be better to do that. You know, I let them sit on here when I tried to pull them off when they were fresh out of the oven and they were sticky. They're still sticky. So this is not ideal. All right. How do they taste though? One, they look better. So our problem here is not visual. Our problem here is logistical. How do we get them off the tray more easily? So this is what they're looking like. I love the look of that better than the ones that I made before. Here's a different one. So that one looks pretty nice. TARDIS, I've never actually used baking wafers. It tastes great. As I'm eating that, the texture is so much better than the ones I made last week. The shaved coconut, the smaller coconut pieces, is much better. Much better. And this one is the version that has more coconut in it. Let's put my microphone on the front of my hat for a moment here. Or I'm moving my microphone away from like directly next to where my jaw is, because I know that the chewing sounds can get pretty loud. Yeah, more coconut. Is definitely better. It keeps them lofted more. This is more structure. Let me look at this original recipe again real quick. Now, this cookbook is quite literally from 1929. So it does say greased paper. So I was worried about adding grease to this, or adding oil to the pan. I think that I'm going to do that. I'm going to make another batch of these, not today. I think I'll make another batch of these tomorrow. I'm going to do a half batch of these. And a little more coconut. And a little more coconut and a little grease on the pan. Baking wafers, TARDIS says, don't add any sort of flavor. They don't stick to the parchment paper and add sort of their own slightly crunchy texture. So they're something that essentially bakes into the thing that you're making. It's not like a little mat underneath that you reuse. I'm understanding that you actually consume the thing. I would assume that meant add enough coconut you can still stir it, but right at the edge. Yeah, I feel like the more coconut you add in here, the more structure these are going to have. That's my assumption here. Yeah, butter would definitely work. Butter or like a really light coating of like oil, like the spray. Butter would be better because it's a much thinner layer. The oil tends to the oil will tend to like glom together. Okay, cool. It sort of fuses. Okay, TARDIS, I got you. Now I'm confused. Well, the bot thinks that you're flirting with it because you used the word bottom. The bot doesn't know that you're talking about the bottom of a baked good. The bot thinks that you're talking about a bottom. A bottom of a person. Uncommon, hello. Uncommon, I love that was your first chat, by the way. The bot has a several second refractory period between flirt comments. That's why I didn't respond to that. The more you know. Anyway, the bot responds to a lot of things because, much like myself, the bot doesn't understand when it's being flirted with and needs to be told very directly. There you go. Okay, so changes that we will make tomorrow. Changes that we'll make tomorrow include we use the same number of egg whites, same amount of powdered sugar, same amount of lemon extract. We're going to add more coconut. We're going to add 3/4 of pound of coconut, which is about 3 cups, 12 ounces. And we're going to butter our parchment paper. And those are the changes that we're going to make tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be doing a couple things. We're going to make another batch of these coconut situations. Because I want to make sure they're correct. Then we're going to make an Ecuadorian dessert, like from the country of Ecuador. Calvin, my son, who was here briefly, who you did not see because he was not available to be perceived today, is doing a project on Ecuador, and his part of his assignment, or part of his like value add for this assignment, is to bring in a snack for everybody to try. So I believe I've landed on doing some type of little like donut thing. I have all the ingredients for it. I don't have all of the I don't know exactly how to make it. We're gonna try it. I think we'll see how it goes. But I'm gonna make that tomorrow. So we're gonna do 2 different things. Am I posting these recipes? I will be posting well, these 2 recipes that I'm working on today are for publication. So they will be published at some point. I think the mushroom one will be published sooner rather than later. I think the coconut one is for, oh, when is it for? The coconut one is for the holidays, I believe. So that might not be up for a while. Once I finish the mushroom one, I'm happy to send it to you. Like, I'm happy to send it in like Discord or something. I think that would be totally fine. But the other one, I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to send either one, but the other one, I'm not sure how long it's going to take. Okay. So, let's see. Tomorrow we're going to be live again. Neil says you could use a mixer. They had those in 1929. They did have them in 1929. I might end up trying to, I might end up using the hand mixer tomorrow. We'll see. A hand mixer with a whisk attachment. Let's find somewhere to go this afternoon. I'm not beholden to the food and drink category today, I don't feel. But let me look and see who's live in food and drink. Anyway, we have Chef Steve is live. Chef Rob Creations is live. Francesco Cooks Spaghetti is live. Get Baked TV is live. Who's Liza J? Liza J looks like they are finishing up something. Muffins. We got a bunch of these like 24-hour streams that are going on, which I don't love. Okay, who is live in the Food and Drink Creator Club? That's what I should be looking at. Oh, Kay is live. Oh, she is live. Amazing. Perfect. Let's go raid. Let's go raid her. Uncommon. That's a good call. I don't think I saw that she was live. I hadn't hit refresh. Oh, there she is. Okay, cool. We love it. Kay is a member of the Food and Drink Creator Club. Command CC in chat if you want more information on that. She is doing dinner and literally just got started about 4 minutes ago. So this is a good time to get in and ask what she's making. Because I can't tell, because it doesn't say it in the description. We're going to be live tomorrow around noon Eastern time. I shouldn't have as many updates on my computer at all tomorrow, so hopefully we will be on time today. We'll hopefully be on time tomorrow. I meant to ask earlier, did you get a bird sticker from Liz? I did get a bird sticker from Liz. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it quickly. I know where it is. I got lots of stickers. Let's see. The bird sticker is in here somewhere. I don't know what to do with stickers. Do you all get anxiety about putting stickers on things? I do. And I'm like, but I can't stick it anywhere because then what if I want to move it? And then I'm like, oh, but here it is. A bird sticker. No, so if I knew what the see, I interpreted that because I knew what we were talking about. I did get a bird sticker. Isn't that cute? It's a little hummingbird. Robbie, thank you for coming through today. I appreciate it. A sticker box. Yeah. That's a good idea. A sticker album. I like the idea of just having something to put them on. Especially all the ones that I got at TwitchCon. Like, I got a lot of good ones. I went up and accosted a lot of people. I saw somebody, who was it? Someone I ran into at TwitchCon said that they had that basically they have like an autograph book, and they had people like write in it and like put their sticker in there too. And I kind of loved that idea. I like the idea of being able to display them. I put mine on my water bottle, but I've run out of space. I have a giant manila envelope full of stickers. I do. I definitely do. Okay, we're going to start our raid today. Let's start that. That should be starting. Okay. Let's do our this thing. And then we have some raid messages in chat. Here's 1. Here's 2. Here's a bunch of social media links that you can use to follow or not elsewhere on the internet. Well, I appreciate you all coming through. Syphilis says my son, his dad had stickers on all of his water bottles. I love that. I love that. I will figure out something to do with the stickers. Buy command didn't show. You can also put command buy in chat. I think that works too, or it should work. They're rainbow. I love it. That's why they're... Yeah, Uncommon, what happens when you sell the car? Who knows? Bumsy Bear, my favorite Morgan enjoyer. Bumsy Bear, thank you. I appreciate that. I did meet Morgan, Team Morgan from Big Brother at TwitchCon this year. I accosted her and made her take a picture with me. Thanks for coming through, y'all. We'll be live again tomorrow at noon Eastern time. Until then, if I don't see you, then I will see you in chat. Bye-bye.
What are you guys doing here today? Hi, honey. How are you? How we doing? How we doing? Hi, guys. What was Eat at Dad's making today? We haven't even started yet, and you're already done? Hi, guys. Hi, guys. If you don't already know me, hi, my name is Kay Chick. I'm a healthy food streamer primarily, though on the weekends we do variety streaming and crafts. Whoa. Oh no, what was happening?
Too hot.
Yeah, that looks hot.
Sorry, what was that, Liz? Yeah, I'm fine. Let's do that in the food processor.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
That's why
is this...
I had the towel like that. I was waiting for that to explode.
Is that the stream when there was an explosive, when the I feel like Dad, I feel like I cannot escape this with you. Like every time I come into chat with you on your stream, you're making soup, and I feel like we always talk about the blender exploding when you were putting hot soup in there. Was that clip? Guys, you have to be following Eat at Dad's if you're not already. Such an amazing human. Thank you so much for bringing your friends over and trusting me to take care of you guys. Don't worry, I won't hurt you too bad, okay? Unless you like it. Just kidding. Hi, Robbie, how are you? You're fine. You're fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Let me say hi to everybody that's coming in with that raid. Hi, Joe. How are you? Joe Adult Man. I actually really like your name. Hi, Twinderella. How are you? Uncommon. Hi, honey. How are you, babes? Little Mac. I love that name, too. Super cute. So love.
Are you here? Yeah.
Thank you so much for that follow, Joe. I appreciate you. So Fluff. Love that name as well.
Yeah.
I can't see who's actually following until it like pops up. There we go, Little Mac. Thank you so much for that follow. Oh my gosh, so many friends. Hi guys. The blender clip. Oh no. It never like literally, this is always what I think about now. Every time I have hot soup and I have to blend it, is this clip. It's that clip.